and the green and white upon my chest. It's such a joy for us to see, for they play football the Celtic way, with the four-leaf clover on my breast, and the green and white upon my chest. It's such a joy for us to see, for they play football the Celtic way, for they play football.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are we doing?
All good,
Jerry,
lads, yeah.
how's it going, pal?
Doing all right. How are we?
Fantastic. And yourself, Paddy?
Going well, Scotty.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a transfer deadline day special on the Four Leaf Clover podcast. And sorry, excuse me, lads. Got the producer in my ear here. Oh, we have to go over to the Shite Sports Studio. Our intrepid reporter is on hand. Jim.
Evening, boys.
Great to see you, Jim. What have you got in store for us tonight?
What a busy evening for Celtic. Apart from the bodies that have already been brought in towards the end of the window, you've got Adam Schmeichel, Sinisolo, and we're hearing that Trusty is on his way for £6 million from Sheffield United, and a late bid for Luke McCowan at £1 million plus. You've obviously got a Spanish boy from Barcelona on the left back position. Looks as if he'll be taking Greg Taylor's position. And I think that probably the most inciting, apart from Bernardo, who's already been here again, the same as he did last season, come in for £6 million. We've got Engels, club record of £11 million. He done his medical in London today and is on his way or is already at Celtic Park. So I think the crowds will be gathering there, and I think there might be a few wee sneaky other ones coming in there as well that we don't know about, at least one anyway. So exciting times for Celtic. Spending plenty of money. Because they have got loads of money. And unlike other Scottish teams, one in particular, a tribute act, who are absolutely skint. Homeless and skint. So it's looking good for Celtic, lads. It's looking very good indeed.
Jim, thank you very much for that. And thanks for joining us from the Shite Sports Studio. It is great to see you. I just want to ask one question about your look this year. I remember last year you had the blonde hair. It's gone a bit grey this year. Is everything all right with yourself there, Jim?
Yeah, it's just simply stress. Stress is all it is, my man. Don't worry, I will be bald very soon.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much, Jim. We'll let you get away to make up and get yourself sorted out. So, Jim, thank you very much there for the Shite Sports Studio. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen even, we've got a packed show for you this evening. The face painter was paid by StreamYard. We couldn't join you on Wednesday night. StreamYard was down and there was nothing we could do about it. So we couldn't do a podcast on Wednesday night. But it might be a good thing because it leaves us with a stacked show this evening. So we're going to go through a few things tonight. We're going to go through St Mirren 0, Celtic 3. A few other things. Peter Lawwell getting confronted by the fans at the stadium. The transfer window so far, the Champions League draw, and the preview of the Glasgow Derby. So, like I said, lots and lots and lots to talk about this evening. Jerry, we'll go through the Celtic St Mirren game first. So, Celtic winning the game 3-0. Another clean sheet, my good man. Another brilliant performance by Casper Schmeichel.
Yep.
2 fantastic goals in the first half from Callum McGregor and Rio Hatate. And Alistair Johnston as well played a blinder, mate, and ended up getting the score sheet as well.
It was a good display all round again. The fine display with Celtic. See, we're keeping getting better every week. We keep saying that, but they just seem to be getting better every week. St Mirren Park's usually a wee tough place for us, but we talked about it last week. We got the early goal. The early goal changes a lot of stuff, Scotty. The other team opens up more. It creates more spaces for us when they open up. And I thought McGregor, the only thing I would say with McGregor is I'd like to see him shoot more. I think that's what he lacks a wee bit. He should have more shots. Because, when he gets the goals there, he's catching a couple. I think he should shoot more, to be fair. I don't think yourselves on that, But Hatate as well. I know Riley's away there, but see when Hatate's in the ball, he's class. He's got everything. He's got everything. I think he's the one that sees Kyogo's runs. I think he sees him quick enough. So I did, but it was a good display. The players are all, they're shutting the ball down as quick as they're getting it. The second balls, they're running every ball. They're just doing everything right now. I don't know if that's a credit to Rodgers now. They're all starting to sing off the same hymn sheet, to be fair. But I thought it was another great display for them. And even the St Mirren manager praised us. No many managers in the SPL praise Celtic. They always look for excuses. But I seen he praised Celtic. So he did. So it was overall a great display. Great display.
Yeah, Paddy, we were looking for Hatate to certainly step up when we knew Matt O'Reilly was leaving, and step up he has. The whole team has, mate. They're looking slick. It's great to watch. It's not the slowness of last season. It's fast, slick, quick on the ball, quick passes. Brilliant to see. Brilliant goals. And as Jerry said there, McGregor with shots, Hatate with shots. Just brilliant to see, mate. Great performance.
Great start to the season, lads. Can't ask for any more. Clean sheets, full points, putting on the pressure on everybody else. So can't ask for any better than that. I thought the game on Sunday was comfortable. Put it that way. A lot more comfortable than we've been sometimes away from home, and I think that's down to the way that we've been playing. The slowness that we saw last year amongst the back four and the goalkeeper. Yeah, that seems to have gone completely. They seem to be getting the ball forward as quickly as they can now. And again, just what Jerry said earlier, like we've been crying out for at least 2 years. Even under Ange, we were saying the same. O'Reilly, Hatate, McGregor, shoot from outside the box. We've got players that can do that. We don't do it often enough, and you can see McGregor, even the first couple of games he's played, he's rifled in 2 crackers. So again, Sunday was another example. The weather wasn't great, so it was a perfect day for trying it from outside the box. Even if you don't score, you might get a deflection, it might come off somebody, whatever. But I just like to see more of that. Definitely more of the shooting from outside the box. But as I say, just the way he has them lined up. Even I know some people. Greg Taylor gets a bit of stick from time to time, but I thought Taylor and Johnson were fantastic, pushing up high on the opposition, and not letting them out. And then, as Jerry said earlier, like whenever we score an early goal, that forces the other team to come out, and then we can play in behind them. We play in the lines behind them, and that's when you see Hatate and you see McGregor. That's when you see these guys come to life, when they've got that wee bit of space and they've got that wee bit of extra time. So you saw that yourself on Sunday. St Mirren were trying to, push up the field and try and get the ball into the box, but that's when we hit them on the break. The speed of our counter is frightening. So we've got that. Not only the guys that we're playing, but when you look at the bench, look at the strength of our bench. I was just looking at some of the other teams there over the weekend. I was just looking at the Hibs and Hearts and Aberdeen and teams like that. Like when you see our bench compared to theirs, we have another 11. We almost have another 11 there that would certainly put up a battle for first place in the league. So we have more or less 2 teams there. So if we can just keep going the way we're going, keep everybody fit. Hopefully by the end of tonight, we'll have another 2 or 3 additions to the squad, quality players that Brendan's looking for. It should just put us in a fantastic position to go forward for the rest of the season. So can't wait to see what tonight brings.
Aye, it's going to be certainly exciting. We were talking in the green room before the game, before the podcast started, and Celtic are not normally involved in the last night. It's normally a shite night for us, transfer deadline night, but we know for a fact we're getting at least 2 in the night, which is going to be brilliant to see. And we're going to stick with you guys. got to stick ways as the night goes on, and hopefully bring them as we're live on air, which is exciting as well. So it's going to give us plenty to talk about as the night goes on. So Andy, welcome back. It's good to see you in your normal clothes. We were on the post-match with our Paddy. We missed our Jerry on Sunday, who was swanning away in Arran with the wedding party there, stuck on the island and stuff. But a cracking thing that Paddy came up with there was, you didn't really notice it watching on the telly, was the weather. The weather was fucking horrific, by the way. And you couldn't tell by Celtic's performance that the weather was horrific. It was still, we still looked good.
Aye, it was. I think we spoke about it in the post-match, talking about the weather, but the pitch looked immaculate. And I think when you're playing the type of football we play, it can be an advantage when it's kind of slick like that. But it was a bit windy as well, so it was a bit blowy, you know. So it was a wee bit hazardous. It wasn't the best day for talking about a football pitch, but I think overall the pitch was all right, and we played. I think recently, well, certainly since it started. What's that? It's official, right? It's official.
Brilliant.
That's well. I think we knew that was going to happen. It was just a matter of time, wasn't it? So, just touching on Trusty, I think a lot of people are saying he'll be a good kind of partnership with Carter Vickers. The two of them play together with the national team, but they actually don't, because they're actually up against each other for the same position. So I think he's only had 2 caps or something. So they've not really played together internationally. But they'll certainly have a good partnership at club level. You're bringing in a defender he's going to get used into. It's the same with the wee left back as well. They'll know that he's sitting on the bench. That's good. That's good. So that's one, definitely. Another one, definitely over the line.
So just going back to the game then, Andy. What sort of stood out for you? We speak about it on every pod. Is there anything that you think that you missed on the post-match that you didn't get to say? And you know, looking at it now, a week later, sort of thing. Who were the ones that sort of stood out for you in the game, pal?
I think Hatate, McGregor, Maida. There was quite a few top performers in that game. I think what I've noticed with Celtic, and particularly that game as well, but the games leading up to that, is a bravery this season. They've got a bit of bravery about them, and they're going forward with the ball. They're quite willing to go and try and beat a man, whereas before we were maybe going to make that attempt, and then it was too easy to knock it inside or knock it back away as well. So that was the kind of the attacking phase kind of breaking down at that stage, and then all of a sudden all the defenders are all facing the ball again. I think you're getting into the Celtic, it's more effective where you're getting to the byline, you're getting the ball out, where the defenders are facing their own goal, and it's a lot harder to defend. Whereas before last year, a lot of points last season, you're playing everything in front of the defender. It's so easy for them to move from side to side, and when they can see what's coming to them, they think we're playing the more dangerous balls into the box. It's great for Maida or Kyogo or Ida if he happens to be in that position. And I think the big man will come good. I know, by the way, I know a lot of people have been kind of, he's not really scored yet.
I don't think he's fit, mate. I don't think he's fit.
He's not fit. He's not fully fit. No, he certainly isn't. Some people may say that's down to his own doing, that he's probably been so desperate to get to Celtic that he almost could be seen as down in tools at Norwich to make sure that movement through. So maybe he's missed out in a wee bit of fitness early, no playing so much in games as it would be, but aye, that'll all come good. We know what he can do. It was superb for us at the tail end of last season, so there's going to be a lot more to come for him. And obviously, you've got the Champions League coming up as well, so I think he'll shine on that.
Certainly, aye, for sure. So, talking about signings, Jerry, one of the key guys for me, I think he's been absolutely fantastic, and he's changed the way we move the ball, and it all starts from the back, as you know. Casper Schmeichel, what a signing he's been, Jerry. What a start. He's not had much today, but when he's been asked to do it, he's done it. And just the way he starts our attacks off and the press as well, it's just like he's been fantastic, hasn't he, since he's come in?
As the modern day keeper for you, isn't it? You've got to start everything from the back. I mean, sometimes if I like my goalie just to clear the ball, to be fair. No, that way, I don't like to see them make mistakes, but he's cool with the ball, and I mean, he starts it well with both feet, pinging the balls. I've not seen anything like it, haven't I think he's got everything. I mean, he's come in there at 37 years of age, 105 caps. The guy, he's probably worked harder than a lot of goalkeepers to get where he is because his old man was a good goalie, Scott. So you've got to prove yourself even there. There's a bit of pressure on the boy. But, what a signing. See if Celtic can pull this out the bag every 1 or 2 years. I mean, Joe Hart done brilliant. We thought, I mean, if you're going to get down to keeper-wise, if Joe Hart got that off the fans, I wonder what Casper will be like, you know what I mean? Because he's took it to another level, what I've seen up to now. I mean, the guy's got experience and everything. Saying that, he'll be in for a shock on Sunday when he runs out. I don't know how much experience he's got. And here's that atmosphere. But, what a goal. I mean, see goalkeepers, I don't know if it's maybe the science and the stuff, but I think goalkeepers can maybe go to 45 in 10 years' time, no problem, the way they're going, the goalkeepers. Because they're well looked after now, and it's quality signing, quality.
Aye, Paddy, he's been a revelation, mate, since he's came in. He's totally changed the way we play out of defence. The boys are comfortable giving him the ball because they know he's just a good a football player as there. You know, the way he's pinging it about and spraying it about. He could sit in that defensive midfield position and just do the Neil Lennon role, but it looks like things, you know, he's brilliant, mate.
He could be a good number 6. He could be a good number 6 if you were struggling. The one thing I've noticed about him, as I said to you before, is his levels of concentration. The levels of concentration are just bang on. You never see him caught out of position. You never see him caught in the wrong place. He's always ready there to take a pass from whoever it comes from. But the one thing that I've noticed about him, Joe Hart was quite good with the ball. If he put it that, I'll say he was quite good. He wasn't the best, but he was quite good. But Hart was okay when the ball was going from out to the right fullback or out to the left fullback. Joe Hart very rarely had the confidence to play that ball just straight down the middle from the penalty spot outwards. So your McGregor coming deep, you had Hatate coming deep, but Joe Hart didn't have the confidence to knock that wee ball in between the forward players. Just that straightforward pass. He was all right going side to side, but you look at Schmeichel. Look how many times he did that on Sunday, and that's what beats the press. It's usually one pass that beats the press, and Schmeichel is just an absolute expert of that. There, he was perfectly comfortable rolling the ball 6-7 yards to McGregor to hit a first time pass, just to change the angle completely. And that's what I've noticed about him, from the difference between him and Hart. Two fantastic goalkeepers, don't get me wrong. Joe Hart was an international goalkeeper. You don't get 70-odd caps for England without being a decent keeper. So Joe Hart was a different class, but Schmeichel just seems to be the more, as Jerry says, more modern day keeper in terms of, using the ball at his feet. That was the downfall apparently between Pep Guardiola and Joe Hart. Pep just felt that Hart wasn't up to what he wanted to be in terms of using the ball with his feet. And probably on a par with each other in terms of goalkeeping, but I think that sets Schmeichel apart from Joe Hart is the fact that he's such a good footballer. You literally could see the guy playing outfield, no baller at all. He has the confidence, he has the swagger, and as I say, that's the thing, that comes from his concentration. He's ready to take the ball in. He's ready, so he's already thinking, right, where's this going? As soon as I get the ball, you can see his brain ticking over. He knows already where it's going. And the one thing for me is, as Andy said earlier, it's the same with the outfield players now. We're not scared to take the ball under pressure. Last year, there was a lot of guys, turned back the way and put the ball back to the goalkeeper or whatever. We seem to be taking the ball under pressure and we're playing wee 1-2s here and there. And that's right from the goalkeeper out now. So we're doing it all over the field. So you can't ask for any more than what we've done so far. Fantastic start. And just as a team, we seem to be gelling as a team. And, even with a different style that he's trying to get them to play his way of football. We just seem to be going from strength to strength every week. So it's going to be exciting if we can get a few more bodies in and even add to the quality that we already have. It's frightening what the potential is.
Yeah, it's going to be an unbelievable season, man. You can just feel it already, can't you, Jerry? You got something, pal?
Just because we're talking about goalkeepers there, Scott, I think keep in mind there. last season Rangers obviously got Clement in and they kicked on a wee bit. We actually see when Joe Hart says he was leaving and retiring, I thought Celtic kicked on for there. See when he mentioned that.
Yeah.
I think Celtic kicked on for when they mentioned he was retiring. It gave us that wee kick on.
Try to win the league for Joe Hart.
I love it, was but I just felt that was your wee thing during the season.
That was a shot in the arm. You might be right there, Jerry. You might be right. So, Andy, Stephen McGonigal there's come out with a good one. Casper played under Sven at 2 different clubs. And by the way, rest in peace, Sven Goran Eriksson as well, who died a few days ago there. Another beautiful human being. We're going to mention another beautiful human being as the show goes on as well. But such a shame to see it.
Me?
You as well, Andy. You as well. But I played for Sven under 2 different clubs, and I watched a wee thing the other night, Andy, and it was that Sven Goran Eriksson thing that was on Amazon. I watched it again, and I totally forgot that Casper Schmeichel played for him at Notts County. Remember when he went to Notts County? And they were going to sign every day. They got in Sol Campbell and Schmeichel, and it was a big disaster, wasn't it? I think they went to North Korea and everything, man, for like a friendly, and it was just a disaster. So, but anyway, Casper Schmeichel, Andy, revelation.
I just want to touch on what Paddy says when he was talking about concentration, and I've said it many times in the past about at Celtic, that's probably your most important asset to have is concentration, especially domestically, because we have got so much of the ball. You've got very little to do in most games, so when the opposition do get chances, you need to be alert to that. It's so easy to just slip into almost unconscious mode when you're Celtic goalkeeper, because let's face it, he's not really had to make many saves, has he, domestically? Not that we don't know what he can do. He's the Danish captain, he's got quite a few caps, very experienced, top quality goalkeeper. I'm just delighted that we've got somebody of that stature in to replace somebody that had a big kind of name as well. I think he is a better goalkeeper than, and everybody knows that if they've seen us in the past, that how I feel about Joe Hart, that it was nothing personal. It was just I didn't think he was. I think we could have done better, and it turns out that we have. But no, that I didn't like Joe Hart, and I think it was amazing that the affection he's got for the club. But I think Schmeichel for me is an upgrade on Joe Hart. And I think when you'll notice the difference when we get into the Champions League, start playing their games. I think you'll see his experience coming out and his ability as well when he's called upon. Seen it many times with Schmeichel. He's a very good shot stopper, very much like his dad that way as well. That spreads himself and he makes himself very big. So I think he's a fantastic signing for us.
Aye, he's been absolutely brilliant. Not had much today. Saved the ball when he's had to, and he's kind of like Joe Hart. You can tell he's a leader. He's got a mouth on him. He organises his defence. He's just been, for me, absolutely brilliant. So, gentlemen, moving on. Just before the game, everyone's pretty rosy in the garden at Celtic at the minute. But there was a little unsavoury, I would say, Jerry, an unsavoury incident that sort of happened before the game that we don't like to see. Is it justified? Is it no? It's something that we don't like to see. Peter Lawwell, on his way into the stadium, was confronted by a few fans asking to spend money and so on and so forth. Now, regardless of what your thoughts are on Peter Lawwell, his business acumen is unbelievable. What he's done for our club. So on and so forth, whether you like him or whether you don't. For me, this sort of behaviour's out of order. I know it's us that put the money into the club and all the rest of it, but it shouldn't be Peter Lawwell who's getting confronted here. It should be Michael Nicholson. And now, in hindsight, it's all a load of nonsense, because as we see tonight, we're sitting here and we're going to get 4 hours of content out of Michael Nicholson breaking the Celtic transfer record twice in the space of a week, Jerry. So, I mean, what's your thoughts on this overall? And it's no good to see, is it?
No, you don't do that. You don't do that in public in front of people there straight away. But listen, I can see the guys, how he's angry. We can understand how he's angry. There's a time and a place there to do that, innit?
Yeah.
But as you say, it's maybe laughing about it, him doing that. Is that how he's got these signings in? Do you know what I mean? Him doing that, but take away that. But listen, he's done a great job for Celtic business-wise, from where we were to now. But even I'm frustrated with him the last few weeks about the players in January, telling us, he came out in January himself and promised us. But to be fair, the boys maybe feeling a wee bit angry now for pulling them up a week early. He should have waited. No, he should have done that anyway, but he should at least waited there for the transfer window to see where Celtic were at.
Yeah.
Listen, we've always done a lot of good stuff for Celtic, but as I say, listen, the guy's not got a platform to show his anger either, you know, so maybe that you get an opportunity there, but I think it's a bit over the top, to be fair.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
It's
a bit over the top, yeah, Scott, isn't it? You know
it certainly was, mate. I've got something here. I've got something here, Jerry. So pre Peter Lawwell, he joined the club. They were running at a £38 million deficit, 22 million debt when he was appointed. Had won 4 league titles in 15 years. Hadn't been in the European Cup, Champions League last 16 in 24 years. Since being appointed as Celtic's chief executive 20 years ago and moving to chairman 2 years ago, the club has made a profit of £230 million on 35 players. And in their next accounts, will have in excess of £100 million cash in the bank after the Champions League money and ticket sales are factored in. In that time, he's won 15 out of 20 league titles and been in the last 16 of the Champions League 3 times. We've also won 12 out of the last 13 league titles. We've won 5 trebles in the last 8 years and are one of the most cash-rich clubs in Europe in terms of profit margin, despite being in a country with one of the poorest prize funds and TV deals, while being heavy favourites to win the league again, having a proven top-class manager and breaking their transfer fee this summer, which is now going to be twice. Yet a large section, most likely a majority of Celtic fans, want him out the club.
Well, I can see both sides to it. You know, I mean, I'm surprised the club's not wanting him, actually, One of the clubs in England are not wanting him to run the club for them. That record there, looks brilliant there, doesn't it? Look at that. Look at the big picture.
Yeah.
But I think they're just getting frustrated. The fans are just getting a bit frustrated with the broken promises. I think it's got a wee bit and it just took its toll. I just think, then again, if they did not get these boys in this window, I'd hate to think about what's going to happen next week. If that was just a start of it, maybe one person getting angry. I don't know. I'm glad the players are coming in because you can't just sit with all that money and just we're just moving along. We're not getting up and doing. See, Martin O'Neill days we were getting up 1 year, doing a wee bit up. It was on a roller coaster. To me, give me that all the time. See, we're just playing along and not doing nothing. I'm talking about as in Europe and stuff. Sometimes you've got to spend a bit of cash 1 year, then maybe save the next, then spend again. Save, spend, that's fine. But not just save. Yeah. There's got to be a bit of anger somewhere for us, you know. I think a wee bit of anger's just come out at the wrong time.
Aye. Paddy, you agree with Jerry there? I think the fans were a wee bit premature there, and as Jerry said, you know, maybe give him another week. It's been 3 shite transfer windows, really, barring Matt O'Reilly coming in. There hasn't really been a decent transfer window, and this is probably the best one we've had for a long, long time. And is it fair or is it unfair, or do you see it for both sides, like Jerry on Peter Lawwell, or should it be Michael Nicholson, who's very, very quiet for me, by the way, as a Celtic CEO, but he's doing his business quietly and it's looking good. What was your overall thoughts on the fans confronting Peter Lawwell last week, Paddy?
Well, the look of that, Scott, it's not a good look. It's definitely not a good look for the club and the image of the club. That's the kind of behaviour you associate with another club. So I don't like to see that kind of thing. However, what I will say is, that fan was just probably showing the frustration that we're all feeling at that stage. You're listening to the players that we're being linked with, but we're not getting deals over the line, and so people are become frustrated. The one thing that I think the club could do better is, if fans do want to make their feelings known to the likes of the board, where are they supposed to do it? Where are they, we don't have a platform to do it. Give us some kind of a platform where we can air our views, and they don't have to be made in a public arena like that outside a football stadium. So the PR side of things, they could, the club could definitely speak to the supporters and answer questions more. And then you've also thrown in the last few weeks. You can see, I don't know how you looked at it, but I know I was starting to feel sorry for Brendan, because it just seemed to be every week. It was just, and you're just thinking, this guy, what more do you want this guy to say? What more can he come out and say? There's only so much that he can say, because he's under contract and there's all these clauses and stuff like that, but what more can the guy possibly say? And it's not only the things he was saying about wanting quality players, and it was even the substitutions that he was making during the games. We talked about it last week. Is that why he was throwing on Ralston to play at left back? Is that why he was throwing on Mikey Johnson? Was that him sort of saying, listen, look, this is what I'm down to here? So the club bring a lot of that on themselves, whilst I don't condone that. I don't condone anybody having it's all right to have a word with somebody, by all means have a word, but I don't condone that personal abuse of somebody on their way into the game. That's a bit out of order. But as I say, I think that if Celtic give us a proper platform to actually say, listen guys, what's going on here? Just tell us what's happening here, because you're just left in limbo. You're watching other teams signing players. You're watching other teams. You're hearing about us being linked with this, linked with that, but nothing's happening. So even up to last Saturday, Sunday, I was feeling the pressure too, because I thought, here we go again. We're going to leave this into the last week of the transfer window, and we need Brendan's talking about 3, 4, 5 players coming in. I don't see that happening. I certainly didn't see that happening on a Saturday or Sunday. So you can understand the frustration of the guy. If he's there, Lawwell's there, and then, those things tend to degenerate. That's what it degenerates into a bit of name calling and stuff like that. It's all right if you're having a quiet word and he's giving you the reasons why and asking you to understand, which I think he was doing. He was saying to the guy, calm down. We're not idiots. I think that's what he says. We're not idiots. So that's absolutely fine. But, at least come out and reassure us. And this is where, as you say, apparently Peter Lawwell has absolutely nothing to do with the day-to-day running of the club or the hiring and firing. It is Michael Nicholson. Well, I'm sorry, but Michael Nicholson as a chief executive, he could come out on some of the platforms and tell us, listen, we're working hard here behind the scenes. We will have players in. It's going to take a wee bit of time, whatever. Just reassure the fans. But just this vacuum, and then that's what happens, because whenever there's a vacuum, then people make up their own minds and they start dreaming up all sorts of scenarios and all. But as I say, I think it was a twofold thing, because Brendan was, I think that was either 3 weekends or 4 weekends on the trot where Brendan had come out and said, listen, we're doing what we can. We know what we need to do, but, and that's the fans we were watching that over the last 3 or 4 weeks. So we're just seeing his frustration, and then you're taking that frustration on yourself. Well, as I say, the one thing, I'm not here to defend Peter Lawwell by any manner of means, but the one COVID season, what would we be looking at now if we hadn't had that season? 14 in a row or something, would it be? 14 in a row, 13 in a row? We had that one season where
14, mate, aye.
Everything that could have possibly went wrong for us went wrong, and there was underhand dealings as well going on behind the scenes. Listen, you can't argue with the record. Look at what happened across the city. Look at what's happening at Inverness at the minute. If your club's finances are not managed properly, you can very quickly, things can spiral out of control, and all of a sudden you can be in trouble. But look at the financial position we're in now. Take that back to 1990, whatever it was, when Fergus McCann. Look at the financial situation we're in now. If the club took a notion now of saying, listen, we're going to put the club on the market and we'll let somebody else come in here and take us over. Look at the financial proposition Celtic Football Club will be for anybody now. Sitting on a pile of money, Champions League qualification, I read today somewhere. I don't know if this is true, but I read somewhere today that the prize money for the Champions League this year has increased beyond whatever. And somebody, if you win all your matches, it could generate another 50 million from winning those matches. If you win all your games, you could generate another 50 million in prize money from winning all your games. So look at the position we're in, and that's you can't on one hand say the board are good or bad. You have to look at the job that they've done over the, even over that. There's my youngest lad. My youngest lad has never known anything else. He's never known anything else. 22, 23 years of age, one per season. Celtic have been champions every single year of life. So I'm not, as I say, I'm not here to defend Peter Lawwell in any way, shape, or form. But as I say, it's difficult whenever look. As I say, I would rather be in our financial position than some of the rest of them.
Of course, mate. Of course. And I've just noticed some more breaking news there on no Shite Sports News, Sky Sports News. This one, Andy. TikTok Todd is away to Blackburn on a 3-year deal. So, like his pal Joey Barton, he came, he saw, and he done fuck all. He's out of here. The little fanny is off. But going back to the point that we had on hand there, Andy, Brendan Rodgers, which I like to see, has thrown the board under the bus publicly, and quite rightly so. He's the manager. End of the day, the buck stops with him when it comes to what happens on the pitch. What happens after the pitch is up to the board, but what happens on the pitch, and he's called them out, mate. He called them out in January. They didn't do anything about it. So yes, the fans were potentially right to speak to Peter Lawwell, maybe not in the aggressive manner that it happened. But as Paddy said as well, it's Michael Nicholson that's in charge. It's nothing to do with Peter Lawwell. It was unsavoury scenes. Yourself, mate, what was your overall thoughts on it when you seen it? And I just gave your thoughts on it, pal.
I've got absolutely no problem with fans venting their frustration, and I think Paddy's absolutely right with what he said. That is frustration. Frustration can make you say things in the heat of the moment that you wouldn't ordinarily say to somebody. And I think, given the circumstances, that the fact that it's a well-known fact that Celtic have got bags and bags and bags of money, there's absolutely no reason why business can't be done. It's people saying, but the window's open to the 30th. No, there's still weeks to go. And it opens, so do it when it's open. Why wait to the last minute? It does. It gives you the vibes, the desperation. And you go, well, if these guys were already in the plans and already been scouted and looked at, it should have been done early. There was absolutely no excuse for it not to be done early, because it's not as if we're having to sell Matt O'Reilly to get the cash to buy players, because we didn't. In fact, as it turns out, where the players were sold this season, it's over £40 million we've brought in, where the players were let go. So we've not even touched the sides with that, where the players were brought in at the moment. So we've not even dented the pile of cash that we've got, or we thought we had for transfers. So, we've not even started using that yet. And I think there's too much emphasis put on we have got loads of money. You're not going to have loads of money if you don't start putting it into the team and investing into the team, because your quality is going to go down. And you're not going to get a Matt O'Reilly every couple of years. You're quite lucky in these situations. And I think we have been lucky in certain things. We selling off for a profit and all that. A guy that really came here and done nothing. Getting rid of Mikey Johnson for what, $3.5 million, was it?
Yep.
Something like that, 3.5 million. Players who were surplus to requirements.
Just as you say that, Andy, I've got a wee list here, mate. Again, it's all been in the sort of Peter Lawwell tenure. If you look at these players, there's plenty there to look at that were brought in for nothing and sold on for sort of massive fees. There's a list there, your Virgil van Dijks, your Moussa Dembele's, your Odsonne Edwards, everybody, mate. The list just goes on and on and on. And I think the recent one that we're going to touch on is obviously Matt O'Reilly, 1.5 million, and you know, you're getting 30 million in for this boy. It's incredible how we've managed to find all these nuggets and, you know, sell them on for massive fees. And look, lads, we all know what Celtic is. You know, we are a selling club. We're not going to have players, barring our Scottish boys, that are going to stay here for 5+ years. So it's the business model of the club, Andy, and it's just the way it is. It's the way it's going to be. And like I just said there, it's just going to be probably your Scottish boys that are going to hang about for the long haul.
Aye. What I would say is maybe if Peter Lowell's called an arsehole at the start of every transfer one day, this will happen maybe a wee bit sooner. Just when it comes to Matt O'Reilly, we actually worked out quite lucky in that situation because we went for that McGree, and he's not really doing much with Middlesbrough, is he? You know, so I think Matt O'Reilly was the kind of second choice, and it just so happens Matt O'Reilly has got a right mindset to go into a club and actually show what ability he's got. I think we were quite fortunate there. The fact that we bought him in for $1.5 million, sold him for 30, very fortunate. But he's definitely worth it. I mean, I was just looking at some of the transfers going on down south now. Guys I've not even heard of, like second string goalkeepers going for 10 million, and I'm going, who even are these guys? And we're waxing lyrical about spending 11 million on a 20-year-old guy who looks very good, by the way. That's one guy I'm really looking forward to seeing his angles. I think he's going to be superb. He may turn out to be even better than Matt O'Reilly, but I look at it for what I can see. Maybe we're going overboard. Okay, we don't even know, but we're just looking at YouTube like everybody else. But I've got a right good feeling about this boy. I think we've won a watch for him.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. So let's move on to what we're actually here for the night, lads. We've covered the St Mirren game there. The only reason we've done that, lads, is because obviously we couldn't get on Wednesday night due to StreamYard not paying the Lecky bill. So Jerry, we'll start off with the biggest transfer that we just sort of touched on there, but I think he deserves a good chat anyway about our main man there that's just left the club, Matt O'Reilly. And Matt, if you're watching, all the best to you. You know, you picked up an injury. It was a shocking tackle, by the way, on him the other night in his debut down the road, and he's going to have to get ankle surgery already, which is terrible for the boy. But what's your thoughts on Matt O'Reilly, mate? Brilliant player for us, mate. Absolutely brilliant.
First, got to say that boy tackled on night. I think he's had 3 red cards and 22 bookings as well. That boy. Can modern day Terry Hurlock, is it? Listen, where do I start with this guy? It's not been said about him, Scott. He's old, man. He's just a cracking football player. Where do you get a cracking football player? A cracking humble guy, a handsome guy. And the boy's not fall off perfect, does he? When it comes to that. Fucking. I mean, listen, he's come into Celtic and he's took it away. 19 goals last year or something? So many assists, 19 assists or something.
Assists as well, right?
I honestly think if a young kid watching, now he was going to Brighton on Wednesday. I think he stayed on for extra practice at Celtic Park on Wednesday afternoon. Guys like him just don't naturally just come good. They work their arse at it and deserve everything they get again. He's worked so hard to get where he is, Matt O'Reilly. And picked up what player of the year, players player, bells last year, three trophies. I mean, the guy's just been, to me, if any kids are out there, that's your exact. He should be Celtic's poster boy. Actually, come here. This is what you do, and go to bigger things. I think you'll be at Brighton for obviously we set back with injury, but I think maybe 2-3 seasons he could move on to bigger stuff. Matt O'Reilly. So
sure.
To me, it's just there's that much just said about the guy that you struggle to find words now about him. You watch all these wee programmes and the charity programmes and everything else. To me, he's just a quality football player. So he was. And he just didn't, even going through the transfer there, Scott, and all the teams that come in from, you wouldn't have knew he was just same guy, wasn't he? He never changed much there, get late, and where other players would maybe say, oh, down tools or whatever they want to do. I just think the guy is just very brilliant. Good luck to him.
Personified, mate. Class personified for sure. Paddy, as Jerry said there, I think the Atletico Madrid bid did affect him in January. It did affect him. His form kind of went off a wee bit. And listen, he's a young boy. We need to remember he is a young boy, you know. And but as Jerry said there, it certainly didn't affect him this time. You know, he's obviously learnt for that. And he's been an absolute revelation for us. And me and Andy have spoke privately, and we think he's going to go into massive things after Brighton, which I'm sure Andy will touch on as well. But Paddy, just give us your overall thoughts on the beautiful human being that is Matt O'Reilly.
Well, do you know what? The sky's the limit for the guy, as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely, sky's the limit for him. You know, we came into the club as an unknown. I don't think any of us had ever heard tell of him. And I can remember the first match we watched here. We watched it on TV, and I remember just sitting chatting to my dad and saying, "This guy looks a player here." You know what I mean? You could just see from the first couple of games. Same with Hatate, he's just very similar. But you know what you've got to say about the guy is the way he's conducted himself. I mean, even the fact that we're talking and we're only one group of Celtic supporters. The entire Celtic support have sent him on his way with nothing but best wishes, and that's because the guy conducted himself in the proper manner.
Yeah.
You know, the Atletico Madrid did. You know, it did maybe annoy him, but it wasn't for very long, because I can remember us talking, saying, you know what, he wasn't long and screwing it up and get back to work again. You know what I mean? And other players could have spat the dummy out there and, you know, made things difficult for the manager and, you know, made things difficult for the rest of the team and stuff. But the guy has just been unbelievable. You heard Brendan talking about his attitude in training, his attitude to everything that he does. He's just a consummate professional. And I said before that we don't have a player on our books, and we won't have a player on our books for the foreseeable future. We won't have a player that as soon as somebody presses the £26 million button, they'll be gone. That's the market we're operating in, and anybody who doesn't understand that hasn't been keeping up. That's unfortunately the state we're in. If we get that sort of money for anybody, the players will be sold. That's just the model we work in. You can't argue with that. You bring a guy in for $1.5 million, you turn him into how many winners' medals is he away to England way, and he walks out the door. And I think it was Roger Hanna the other day said that he's actually saw the ins and outs. He said that the deal, if everything comes to pass, the deal will eventually be worth $32 million to Celtic. So you can't argue with that, you know. So this is what we do. We bring players in, we develop them on, we make them winners, and we send them on their way. And now that he's got a move to the Premiership, I can see similarities with Van Dijk. I can see. I don't think he'll be with Brighton very long. Maybe a season and a half, 2 years at the most. I can see the bigger clubs. I was actually surprised whenever they realised he was right for a move. I was surprised that Big Ange didn't look at him for Spurs when he was going to England. But again, you know, look at the bigger clubs: Manchester United, Arsenal, Spurs, Liverpool, Chelsea. I can see Matty going on to some of those there in the very, very near future. Absolute quality player. The ability the guy has is just unreal. He was just a joy to watch as a Celtic fan. And as I say, you just have to. The mark of the man is just you see the reception he's been given on his way. There's not been I haven't seen one bad word said about the guy.
Yeah, he was absolutely fantastic for us. Just touching on the Big Ange thing, I think there was something you don't normally see from Matt O'Reilly, but I think there was a few sort of smart comments about Ange when he left. So I'm not sure that they two really got on. So I don't think the Spurs move was ever going to be in the cards.
Yeah.
But Andy, we've spoke behind the scenes about Matt O'Reilly, and we seem to have similar thoughts on where this boy's going to end up. And I think Paddy just hit the nail on the head there, mate, with the same sort of Van Dijk, you know, mentions. You know, this boy, the sky is the limit. And you think the same as me. that this boy could potentially end up being a Champions League winner. We actually think he's that good.
Absolutely.
After Brighton, he could walk into any team on the planet.
Aye, I think we spoke about it last week, I think it was. And we were all the same opinion that 3-4 years' time, I can see him lifting that big cup. I don't think he'll be with Brighton very long. I think he'll show his quality, and fingers crossed he came through his injury all right. I know he's having to get surgery and stuff like that. I think so. Hopefully he gets through that all right. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's definitely going on to bigger and better things than Brighton. I think he's gone to the very top. I think you're looking at this might be premature, right, and sound a bit stupid, but I could see him going to like a Real Madrid or something like that, or a Barcelona. I think he's that good. I really do, and I think he will show that. I think he's going to go in and win the. I think he'll be a Champions League winner. I think he's that quality, or he will be. He will be after a couple of years at Brighton. He'll go to bigger things. I hope he does. I really do hope he does, because he's a guy that's believed in his own ability as well to obviously go to MK Dons away from film and stuff like that, and then it's worked out well for him. So well deserved him as well. Absolutely no bad. I was gutted when I left. Absolutely gutted, because you just know how good the quality is. It's just a pity we're in a position that we are a selling club, aren't we? That we can't keep a hold of players like that. So.
Jerry, go for it. What's up?
I was just thinking, after Henrik, everything's all right. Andy, I'm going with Andy after Henrik left. And that was a hard one.
Aye.
It's always hard when you're losing a top quality player. And as I say, we saw that very quickly with him. We have known for a long time that Matt O'Reilly's not going to be around forever. He's not. We've known that for a long time.
Right.
And the fact that you look at, I've watched a few other ones now in this window, and the clubs have gone in and they've stayed in and then they said, no, we're not going any farther. But the speculation about O'Reilly was there from the very minute the window opened, almost, and it would still have been going tonight had he not have gone. It would still have been going. So Brighton weren't prepared to let him get away, and it just shows you that they were prepared to go to whatever 30 odd million the deal will be worth in the end. So they realised that, and they got they kept going till they got their man. And as I say, the guy has everything. The guy has all the tools. As I say, I know that these guys are playing at a different level, but when you look at when you look at that guy Bellingham that plays for Real Madrid, I may be swimming against the tide here, but there's times I just don't see it. I actually just don't see it. I just especially when you see him playing for England in the summer, I think, what is it? What's the fuss about this guy? Whenever we were watching Matt O'Reilly, and you could see Matt O'Reilly playing at that level, and he would slot into a team like that without any fears whatsoever. The guy has everything, both feet. He's big, strong. He can bring other people into play. He can set goals up. He can score goals. The guy just has everything. And as I say, I won't be a bit surprised. I think he's destined for the very top.
For sure. Jerry?
No, I just was thinking of saying, how do you not go to any of the big teams, O'Reilly? Is that down to maybe the fans thinking, turn their noses down at him? He's only coming for Celtic. So are we doing the same with McKeown at Dundee? Are we doing the same thing? Because we want somebody for better teams, and we kind of turn their noses down at some of these boys, the same way the big teams turn their noses down at who we know are great players. It could do a ton for them.
That's
it. They'll end up at the big teams anyway.
Yep.
They'll end up moving. There's a wee touch of that as well.
We're going to need the Scottish contingent in, lads. The Champions League, we need to pick the 8 homegrown players, Scottish players in the squad. It's for me, Dundee are flying. I know it's just the start of the season. He's the captain. The boy's a cracking player, by the way. So, why not? Why not get him in? The Stuart Armstrong who's sitting there in a free transfer as well, Scottish guys like that. Folk turn their nose up at it. Oh, he's a free transfer. He's too old. He's this. He's that. Is Stuart Armstrong better than what we've got?
This is what it is. Some people get fixated by, if a guy doesn't cost 10 million, sometimes we're guilty of turning our nose up at people like that. But again, you look at, as Jerry mentioned early on, Henrik. I think we paid 650,000 for Henrik. The other one that everybody knows is Lugo. I mean, I was the same. I was like, who's this guy that's playing?
You did a gap, 50 grand.
You know what I mean? Like, look, some of the best players that we've had. You don't necessarily you can find these wee diamonds. And what I keep saying to you again, why I would have liked O'Reilly to stay another wee while was, working with Brendan Rodgers. You can see the difference in the guy. He really enjoyed. Maybe didn't underage, maybe didn't enjoy it just the way he is. But I just thought, what, Brendan Rodgers could develop you into an even better player, even just another year. And that's what I say. We have this Premiership caliber manager, so it's great for any of these guys coming in. The guy coming in from Sheffield United, Brendan will work on that guy too. Like I saw some of the comments about him last night from English fans again, but I can remember reading the same things about Big Vickers whenever he was leaving Spurs. They were all saying, "Oh, we'll take him to the airport." Guy's developed into one of probably the best defender we have. You know what I mean? So you don't need to be spending big dough. You don't need to be spending massive amounts of money. And as for the wee guy from Dundee, I haven't seen an awful lot of them, but I can tell you now, the games that I've seen, the guy's been head and shoulders above anybody on the park. The wee guy has stuck out like a sore thumb. I think he'd be a cracking signing.
Yeah. See McCowan's he scored 25 goals in 3 seasons up there. McCowan, Dundee, in the midfield. The boy never hides. We talked about it earlier. And he asked a Dundee team. That boy never hides. Always available for a pass. Never hides. Yeah. To me, I mean, I know it doesn't count that, but he is Celtic daft, the full family. It's a proud moment for him. We'd all love to stick that jersey on. And hopefully, I'm hoping he does get the chance to put it on.
Yeah. And then what is he, Jerry? What is 26? 26, 27?
26 years of age.
We need to look at the mistake we made with John McGinn. With Scott Brown, we saw that Scott was getting up in age. We had earmarked John McGinn as possibly coming in to take over from Scott Brown. That didn't happen. So we need to be thinking now about Callum McGregor. Callum's not going to be around forever either. So we need to be looking at bring a young lad in there, 26, 27, to play along with Callum for a year or two. And who knows? I'm not saying he's ever going to replace Callum McGregor, but you don't know. You don't know what way he develops under Brendan Rodgers. And this is what I'm saying. Good young Scottish talent there. With one of the best managers in the country that we have. His strength is developing players and making players better. As I said before, when you look back his first spell, we had 1 or 2 players there who were drifting along, and if we had let them go, even Scott Brown was one, James Forrest was another. Big Dedrick Boyata was another one. Lustig, these guys, they were kind of sort of. Along came Brendan, and all of a sudden, these guys, he just transforms them. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of manager that we have. So, I bringing in young lads like that there with potential for development. And as I say, we could maybe look at this one and think, do you know what? Maybe long term, this wee guy could could maybe be a successor to McGregor or Hatate in the middle of the field if he develops under Rodgers. Yeah. And what was Andy said? What was it? 1.1 million from him? I mean, it should be a no-brainer.
He's playing better players as well, Paddy.
Yeah.
So your training ground, you're playing better players. You step up another level again. Yeah. So you do. You've got to. You've got to.
For sure. So, gentlemen, we'll have a wee look at the transfers in and out. So we'll start off. I think one of the good things about this window is we've managed to ship a lot of deadwood out, which we don't normally do, but we've done it in spades this window, which has been great to see, Andy. So we'll just go through them, lads, one by one. We've got a 4-hour show here, so we'll go through them one by one. And we'll start off with the latest one there, is Mikey Johnston, who just went, Andy, just before we came on air. Mikey Johnston is away to West Brom. And again, crack money for him, £3 million. Give your thoughts on Mikey Johnston. I think it was his time, mate.
Aye, the young Mikey Johnston, he's now, what age is he, 27 or something?
35.
He's 26, Andy.
Aye, I think he's had plenty of opportunity at Celtic. There's definitely a player in there, just not for us. It just wasn't going to happen at Celtic. And albeit he was already done at West Brom and had a really good time down there, they were also impressed with him. That's why they've come in to get him. And that's fairly good money, I would say, considering he's no really been fantastic for us. But I think he'll go down there and be a success. So, well, good luck to him. I mean, no happen to him. I just don't think it was going to happen to him. Happen for him at Celtic, and that might be a good fit down there because he's obviously been there on loan and done well with him. So I think he might do well when he goes down there. Plus, it's extra coffers anyway, and it gets rid of that MJ problem, doesn't it? Something we don't need to think about again every pre-season when he pops up or when he comes back for an injury. Because he was pretty injury prone as well, wasn't he? When he did get a chance, he'd get injured or something like that and he'd want to be available. So I don't think we've ever seen the best of Mikey Johnson, to be quite honest with you. I think the pressure got to him, mate. I think maybe being a fan, it's maybe too close to feeling that emotion, mate, as well. You can't handle the pressure. Listen, you come to a club at Celtic and a draw is like a defeat, and somebody's getting it in the neck. A lot of players can't handle that. So I think he'll do better down there. It's probably more suited to him. Aye,
Jerry. Mikey Johnson, six times the player that Todd Cantwell is. Transfer fee, hardly plays for Celtic, and off he pops down the road. Aye, it's been a mixed bag for Mikey Johnson. He's showed it in flashes. Maybe the weight of the jersey was too much for him, as Andy's just said there. We'd all, as you said, we'd all cut our left arm off to play for Celtic, and maybe it was just too much for the boy, and it certainly showed in games.
Listen, we in the stands, or we here watching, we don't want any Celtic player to fail, to prove a point about anything. But the boy had 7 seasons there. In 2017, I think he made his debut. And he's had 7 seasons to break into the team. And the pressure just... Listen, you can tell the boy looking at it, the boy thrives in confidence. He looks at the type of player. If he doesn't get that first 10 minutes spelling, his confidence can go. By the way, he can go away and be a cracking player somewhere else. He done it in the loan deals. And the first thing you had the Celtic fans, even myself sometimes, would say, let's get him back up. But it just wasn't going to happen for him here. I think his biggest letdown was he didn't know how to when to release the ball, Scott, at the right time. He'd be a wee bit greedy sometimes and not release the ball. He never ever learned how to do that.
Yeah.
For me, it's the best move for both parties now, I think. And I wish the boy the best, because he could go down there and be a cracker, because he'll not be under as much pressure now with doing it with Celtic, And as I say, he could probably do it and prove it's all wrong. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't it?
Aye.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Definitely. Paddy, as Jerry alludes to there, it's a good move for everybody here, I think. I think his time at Celtic was certainly up there.
Without a doubt. No malice to the young lad at all, but even from day one, I always just felt that he just was lacking that, just lacking that Celtic class. I just didn't think he had the ability. He had, like, good wee player and all that there, but the other thing I would say about him, just to be objective about the whole thing, is, if you look back over the years that he was a Celtic player, look at the opposition that he was facing for his place, the wide players. You're up against, he's battling for his place with people like James Forrest at his height, Paddy Roberts. Then along comes Jota, Dyson Maida, Lewis Palma. You know what I mean? So for his position, the wee guy was up against it. But the one thing for me that ruined it for him was he was just prone to injuries. He picked up injury after injury, and that was the thing about him, that just when you thought, right, this is his opportunity here, he's going to get a wee chance here. He came back, and sometimes Jerry will know this. You're that keen to get back, and you're rushing to get back. You maybe come back a wee bit too early, and you pick up another injury, and that's just what happened to him. It just seemed to go from one to another. And the strange thing was, when he went away on loan, I think it was to Portugal for the first time he was away in Portugal. I don't think he missed a game, and we just sort of found that strange, But I know that the West Brom fans, they just loved him last year, and I was actually surprised that he actually came back to Celtic. I thought they would have done the deal as soon as the season was over, as soon as the window opened. So I was surprised. And then the other day, it looked as though it was going to be maybe a deal with Sheffield United to include Trusty coming the other way. And then all of a sudden, West Brom step in again. And, so they were very impressed with him. And I'm sure they were only too delighted to have him back again. But absolutely no malice towards the wee guy at all. He gave his best.
Aye.
Just wasn't good enough. It didn't happen for him. You know, maybe in a different era it would have happened for him. But as I say, he had a lot of competition for his spot, and unfortunately, when he was fit and he did get his opportunity, he didn't take it. That's the thing. You need to, if you're going to be a Celtic player, an opportunity arises, you need to grab it with both hands. And for various reasons, Mikey just wasn't able to do that. So listen, I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he goes down there and smashes it. But a good deal for both for Celtic. I think his time was up, and time that he was way to pastures new.
Aye, no, fair enough. Aye, that's fair dues. Mikey, we know you're a Celtic fan, mate. So you're one of us, mate. Get in there, smash it up, and enjoy it, man. You know, and thanks for your service to the club, mate. You've been. It's been a shame for you, man. You've been unlucky, and that's the best word that I can use. So we've covered the top guy there. We've covered Matt O'Reilly, who's away to Brighton for the 30 million. Mikey Johnson, who's away to West Brom. And Andy, the next guy we're going to cover on that list of transfers out, is another guy who you could probably say was a bit unlucky with his time at Celtic. Big O.
Aye, mate. I thought it was a superb bit of business to make a profit on him. He did come in and he done a wee bit here and there, but just didn't have that overall look that he was even going to get close to Kyogo when it comes to goals and stuff like that. I think it was a good decision to sell him, and the fact that we made a profit on him I was absolutely shocked when I heard that news that we actually made a profit on him. I thought that was going to be a loss because there's been a few players where it just hasn't quite worked out, but they seem to have kind of knocked it off when it's came to get rid of players and no making too much of a loss on them. They seem to have kind of made a profit, and so I think it's best for him for his career because it was never going to. It just wasn't going to happen for him. Another one of the players that maybe best suited elsewhere. I think it was going to be really hard for him to knock Kyogo off his perch, and certainly wasn't at the level that Ida was at. The fact that Ida came in and in a space of half a season or less than that really changed our season a bit. And if it wasn't for him, we would probably wouldn't have won what we did win. So he was very influential in that short space of time. So I don't think really had that about him. I don't think he really had the potential to do that. Maybe at his new club at Genk he will, but certainly no with Celtic.
Aye. Again, mate, another one. We wish him all the best, but it just didn't happen for it at Celtic. So, lads, we've got some breaking news. Apparently, Iwata is now away as well. He's off the books, but I believe he's away to Birmingham City on loan. We're just waiting for our Jim Shite in my ear. He's going to get back to me about that one and let me know. But apparently that is now Iwata away. So, Jerry, Big
yes.
O.
Sorry if I keep looking away. I'm chatty. Usually when it's a deadline day, I'm sitting with cans of Guinness and packets of big sensation crisps. So I'm trying to watch a wee bit as well. So that's how I'm kind of swinging away to it.
I'm the same.
I'm trying a bit professional here, but no.
No, fire in, mate. I'm the same. I'm watching news. I'm watching the telly. I'm trying to fucking do everything.
I'm trying to catch a wee bit of the deadline transfers here and try a bit, no.
No, bash on, mate. We're all doing it. We're all doing the same. So, Big O, he was kind of the replacement for Giakoumakis. Big Giakoumakis for me was brilliant and left far too early. He should have stuck about. And we got this young boy in to replace Big Giakoumakis. And I said on previous podcasts, he was never a Celtic player. And I think it showed in games. There was a couple of glimpses for the boy. I think like Mikey Johnson, he tried too hard at times for me, Jerry. And it certainly showed. But again, another one, wish all the best, but just didn't happen for him at Celtic.
Nah, definitely. Big man tried his best in that, but he's just young. He was young. He seemed to look young and raw. Mate, running about there up front, chasing things, wasting a lot of energy stuff. And sometimes when you had that chance, he never had that bit of composure. He had no composure.
He rushed it.
You're up front, doesn't matter what's going on about you in the box. You've just got that wee bit of composure. To me, he was a wee bit, as I say, obviously the boy went to America. That's what I was hoping with the signings we were going to make. And always they weren't going to be bad names here, because now I'm on this podcast trying to pronounce all these new signings and that. I was a bit worried about that. I prefer Tam and John and that. No. Simple names. But the big Greek boy, he went away as well. And I thought he was a cracker, but listen, he knew himself he wasn't good enough to be a backup here. So that's how he's moved on to America, you know. I think he's moved as well again, hasn't he?
Aye.
Big goal was a bit raw for me and used up a lot of energy, too much energy for no reason. He's making runs, shutting runs down for no reason, no chasing the ball. And lack of composure when you had the ball in the box.
Aye.
Lack of composure, no. But sometimes you just put your hands up and move on, don't you?
Aye, that's it, mate.
You let things run your own, you know, a few seasons. Move them on. We go
Gents,
again.
we're getting a wee bit of feedback off somebody. I don't know who's got their phone close to something, or we've got a wee bit of feedback there. That's all it is. Aye. And Jerry, you shouldn't have an issue with names with all these scripts that you read or Alec Baldwin. You should be all right there with any sort of names. Paddy, one of the things that Jerry's a fan of as well. We could find this in there. Maybe should have got Big O out to an SPFL club for a season and seen how he actually got on in the Scottish League. I think that could have been an option potentially this season as well. We could have flung him out for a season just to see how he got on. But again, like Mikey Johnson, mate, it just didn't happen for the boy at Celtic.
It would have been an idea, Scott, but I suppose as Andy said, when that kind of money came in for a guy that really wasn't doing the business for you, it was going to be hard for them to turn that kind of money down. I couldn't believe it myself. I actually thought we'd probably have to cut our losses with this guy at one stage.
Yeah.
So to get that sort of money back, was just unbelievable. But I thought he was a wholehearted big fella. I thought he tried hard. I think there might be a player in there for somebody else. There may be a player in there, but it just didn't happen for the big guy. Again, he was up against Kyogo too. Like, he was never ever going to, he wasn't. But he got his opportunity. He did get an opportunity when Kyogo was out he had done his shoulder, or he was out for a week or two, and even just those games, it just didn't happen for him. And then he was relegated to the whole, he was coming on with 10 minutes to go, 15 minutes to go, whatever. And for a striker, that's hard. That's very, very hard to come on, and impress anybody whenever you're only getting I remember one day being at a game and they brought him on with 4 minutes to go. And, and you're thinking, what can anybody do in that? Like, how's he supposed to win? So, but I think, as I say, again, people were judging him because he was seen as a direct replacement for Big Giakoumakis. And because he didn't just sort of start scoring straight away, I think people sort of thought, oh, this guy's nowhere near the class of Giakoumakis. But I just thought there was a player in there. I mean, he scored a few important goals. I can remember him scoring one late against Mirren. I was there one night. It was a midweek game. I flew over to the game and we were I think it was only one each at the time. It was less than 5 minutes to go, whatever, and he popped up with a winning goal.
That's right.
So I definitely think there is a player in there for somebody, but just didn't happen for him. Wasn't his time. Maybe a different time. It might have been different. But as I say, I would think that if a club were coming around and they were talking that sort of money, I would think Celtic would have bit their hand off probably at the finish there. But definitely, maybe if we'd had another body in there, it might have been an idea to send him out to Aberdeen or Hibs or Kilmarnock or Hearts or whatever, and maybe see what he could do, for somebody else. I think that's what he was lacking. I think the big guy was lacking a run of games, and we just couldn't get him that game. We just couldn't get him that because we needed the goals. And when Kyogo was fit, he was never starting. So just unfortunate. But again, big wholehearted big player who gave everything. And again, you just wish him all the best.
Yeah, for sure. You're lads, you're absolutely bang on there with your analysis. It's one of them for me. If we had more strikers at the club, if Big Giakoumakis had maybe stayed around for another season, we could have got out to an SPFL club and got him developed then. But with the big man gone, we didn't have that physicality, and he was the only option we had at the time. So I think that's why he sort of kept around. Yes, Jerry?
What you're saying about the big Greek boy, that name, he's coming off that bench and scoring a couple of goals, Scott, and he's still not getting started the following Saturday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eventually takes his toll. you think you're doing the business here, you're looking for a wee bit of hanging for the manager as well, you know.
Yeah.
You're looking for that. That's the way I look at it. If I come on there and get the winner for it, I'm expecting, I've done my bit. I'm expecting a wee turn the following Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, just where they're coming from.
Totally get it. The big man was definitely a starter, but obviously wasn't good enough to start at Celtic.
Kyogo was Big Angie's pal, though, wasn't he? You know, he was like a father figure to Kyogo. I don't think MD was ever going to get ahead of him unless he had some major injury that he couldn't play.
You see certain players that are allowed a bad game under the manager that likes them. If you have a bad game,
that's it. Yeah.
That's it, right? And that's every level of football, by the way. Every level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's your dad drives a car, and you get a game.
Spot on. So the next one on the list, gentlemen, is Haksabanovic. Again, I think we want to watch there. We're getting shot at him for £2 million. Another one for me came, he saw, done fuck all. Andy, what was your thoughts on Haksabanovic?
I actually quite liked him, to be honest. I think a lot of the time he wasn't kind of utilised in the right position. He was seen as a bit lazy as well at times, maybe a wee bit greedy. What did we sell him for? Was it 2 million? Was it?
2 million, mate, aye.
Aye, 2 million. I think his heat was halfway out the door, to be honest with you. I think it was his time was up at Celtic. Where did he at? Is it Copenhagen now? Where is he?
Let's have a wee look, mate. I can't remember where it was he went to. So transfers out. He went to Malmo.
Aye.
Are they knowing the Rangers group?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Oh,
so, aye,
that's
that'll
an
be
interesting
interesting. Just start there about Ben Doak, going to Middlesbrough. I never really seen him as coming back to Celtic on loan. I didn't see the point in it. He went to Liverpool to develop his career, and he didn't see Celtic as being good enough to do that. So I didn't see the point in bringing that. Now, how's he going to benefit out of it if he doesn't think if he doesn't think we're good enough for him? Then what's the point in coming back to, it doesn't make sense to me. So, that's all I wanted to say on that, sorry.
Just for speaking with Ben Doak there, his granda passed away there the other week. Big Martin Doak, Bloody Martin. I played with O'Reilly Juniors. Cracking big, what a guy. Just when you mentioned Ben Doak there again, just Big Martin passed away there, his granda.
Oh, terrible, man. Terrible. So, Jerry, your thoughts on Big Haksabanovic? What was your thoughts on him?
It's one of the ones again, Scott. Sorry, I think he's one of the guys that's got plenty in the locker, but just runs about 80%. No, that way he's got more there, but to me he's just happy just to plod along a wee bit for me. He's running at 80%. He's a wee bit extra, a bit more off him off foot. I mean, I just go. But just like that wee bit of, like, work harder. We should work harder a wee bit more, I think. For me.
Paddy, for me, he had the turning circle of the arm boat, the guy. He had everything but pace. If he had a bit of pace, he'd have been a cracking winger. He had everything up, barring that. And I think that's what let him down at Celtic. The fast-flowing football that we play, it didn't really suit his game. As Andy said, and as Jerry said as well, there's a player in there. But again, just another one, didn't happen for him at Celtic.
Absolutely. And what we said, I know that when we were coming down from games last year, and even the year before, like he had come on as a sub in a couple of games and he was absolutely brilliant. Coming on the last guy, he scored a couple of crackers, because I can remember being in the Jockstein and he curled one in against, I can't remember who it was, but it was a late one. But then again, when he got his chance to play the full 90 minutes, it didn't seem to happen for him.
Yeah.
So we were saying maybe he's one of these guys. He's an impact player. Maybe he can come on and do a bit of damage. But again, he had all the tools. The guy had some of the moves he had. He had a great skill, great feet. But I keep going back to it again. Brendan sees these guys every day. And I think behind the scenes there was a few noises coming out about his attitude and maybe his work rate. And then he made the fatal mistake that a lot of other guys have done of he went public about basically saying Brendan's not picking me, I'm not in the team, and that with that there's only ever going to be one result there. So he made the mistake of sort of basically questioning the manager in the press, and I don't think he ever kicked the ball again. That was the end of the line. So Brendan's one of those managers that he's very approachable. You want to knock his door and go and chat to him, but you don't go to the papers. So I think he blew it for himself at the finish.
Aye, again, mate, I think you've called it spot on there. He was more of an impact player, and when he got the opportunity to start for Celtic, it just didn't work out for him. So, aye, good sub to bring on, but never a starter for me. And again, one of them. We wish him all the best, and hopefully he does the business in the Europa League, especially against our pals from across the city. That would be nice to see, getting him a couple of goals in that game. So the next one, Andy, we're going to cover is, again, another guy that should never have had a Celtic jersey on for me, Kobayashi. Give your thoughts on him, Andy.
Aye, flat up to deceive, I think, mate. Didn't really see enough of him, but what we did see showed us that it wasn't good enough to be with us. A bit of a failure. I don't think he was ever going to take MD's place in that defence. Just didn't look like a defender to me, mate. He just didn't. Yeah. Certainly not good enough to be in our team. I don't even know what level he's good enough to play at, to be quite honest with you.
Well, he's away to the second division in Portugal, mate. I think that tells you everything you need to know.
Aye, well, that says it all. I mean, when it was with Celtic, you're gauging him, you're going, what? He's certainly not our level, but what kind of level is he? It was hard to tell. And what was that, a 5-year deal he signed, wasn't it? So I was like,
mental.
We're either going to get really lucky, and as we have been in quite a few cases, or we're going to be stuck with this guy. We're just going to be pumping him out on loan every season till his contract runs out, or till we come to an agreement to terminate it. So the fact that he's gone in and went pretty quietly as well, we never really heard much about it, did we? It was never really publicised. I think he actually publicised it himself to say that he had gone. So, aye, listen, you feel sorry for players that come in, it doesn't work out, but if you're not good enough, you're not good enough. You can't have all the sympathy, you know. You look at him, you go, he's been brought in, and we've probably players in the B team that are better players than him that just don't get a look in. So he's extremely lucky that he get in the first team at Celtic at any point, because you could tell in the end up that he just shouldn't have been there at all. He just no get quality.
Aye. And our Jerry down there in the right hand corner would have absolutely roasted that boy back in the day for sure. Jerry, I mean, what are you thinking on Kobayashi? It's just one of the signings for me, mate, that never a Celtic player. Never, ever, ever in a million years a Celtic player.
No, Andy says there, I don't know what the signing was for. Listen, I don't know what the boy done before, maybe in different class, but there was one time I was angry with Ange at Ibrox, remember? He was all over the place, that boy. And that was because Rangers, and that was because of him. He didn't know what was happening at Ibrox Park that day.
Aye.
I'm saying to myself, Ange, get him off. Ange is basically saying he'll never learn because he kept him on. I'm saying that Ange, this is Rangers we're playing here, mate. No. This is that, but to me, that's where you get sussed out. You could be a good player against St Mirren's and stuff. You go to Ibrox, Tynecastle, Pittodrie. That's when you know you've got a player in your hands.
Yeah.
So you go to these places. When I see that day Ibrox, I went like to myself, that boy's never a centre half. Never.
Yeah.
Never a centre half. But yeah, was it. That's the same again. As you say, I think Celtics go to sometimes you've got to put your hands up sometimes, say, it's not worked out, we move on. That's what, as you say. So aye. Never a great signing. I don't think he's ever going to be a centre half.
Aye.
I'm centre half to be tough. But you don't have that look about him either. Hard about him though.
Aye. Paddy, he reminded me of that Dewey that we had. You know, just never a Celtic player, never a centre half. That boy was the captain of China and everything. You know, I don't know. Christ Almighty, unbelievable. You know, we've had some howlers over the years, and I think in a Celtic worst 11, Kobayashi could certainly stake a claim in one of their teams, mate. For me, no harm to the boy, you know, personally, but for me, he was absolutely howling.
Never a centre half in a million years. I remember the very first day we seen him. I remember saying to my dad, "Not a chance. That guy's a centre half." As Gary says there, you know, a centre half. Yet you can see Vickers, you can see Welsh, you can see Scales. Yes, we need to play football, but when the time comes to attack the ball, they can attack the ball, and that's what happens when you're a centre. That's what you need when you're a centre half. And if you're going to Ibrox and you're leading 2-1 with 10 minutes to go, and they're shelling the ball into the box, that's what you need. You're looking at your Mick McCarthy's, you're looking at your Roy Aikens, you're looking at these guys to be on the other end of that and get their head on that ball. This guy, the fact that he was actually ragdolled by John Suter tells you everything you need to know. The guy was completely ragdolled. So, you know, I just said this guy just doesn't. This guy will never have the physicality to play as a centre half for Celtic. Not a chance. You know, like I played amateur football too. I played with guys who were far better players than Kobayashi. You know, I played with guys would have put their head in where the feet were flying. You know, and I'm sure Jerry knows that as well. You know that's what you want. Yes, you need to have guys that can play football and play their way out and all, but there are times in the game when your two centre halves have to go and take the man in front of them and be up his back and let him know they're there and attack the ball. That guy just didn't. You know, I think it was Hearts maybe the first time we saw him. I think it was at Tynecastle, and I remember just thinking, "Oh my goodness!" Like I just don't see it with this guy. You know, unless they can turn him into. So unless they could go and, you know, whatever, I don't know. But it's just, for me, I just said, I remember chatting about to the guys on the bus. This guy, he doesn't look like a centre half. You know, he looks like a ball player, you know, but he just didn't seem to want to do that side of the game where he attacked the ball and, you know, and was brave. And, you know, it's just unfortunate. But again, I suppose at that time, you know, we were probably working in the Japanese market at that time. We were having a lot of success with the guys we did have. So they probably thought he was a decent player, maybe worth a decent shout. But I would like to know the guy that spotted him and thought he was a centre half.
One of the guys you mentioned there, Paddy, is a guy from our neck of the woods, Jerry, Mr. Roy Aiken, who went to the same school as us and was brought up in a Dawson and lived two doors up for my grandparents. But another man from our neck of the woods, it's his 81st birthday today, Andy. Sir Bobby Lennox for us guys for the Three Towns, and especially for me for Saltcoats. So let's just wish your Bobby a happy 81st birthday. And Andy, give your wee thoughts on Sir Bobby Lennox, mate. Such another beautiful human being, as Jerry will know as well, for living around the Three Towns. A very humble guy, never left Saltcoats all his life. Talked to MD when he walks through the town, not a big shot. Absolutely beautiful guy, nice person, had his bar in Saltcoats, Bobby's Bar, for years, and just gives a couple of minutes on Bobby Lennox, lads. Andy, you first, pal.
Aye, I've seen that on social media that it was his birthday, and he's looking really well. So he is. What a player he was for Celtic. Scored plenty of goals, obviously. Lisbon Lion as well. Spent a lot of years at Celtic, and as you said, a very, very humble man. It must be really strange to still live in the same town and you go to the shops and there's a statue of yourself there. You know, it's to stay humble when things like that are getting made. Says it all about him, doesn't it? Just a genuinely nice, down-to-earth family man. Was it you, Scotty, or somebody was talking about going to his door? And was it you, Scotty, that went to his door? I heard somebody talking about going to Bobby Lennox's door as a win or something like that. Who was it? Was it one of us, or did I watch it somewhere else? And
no, it would have been maybe Roy Aiken. I used to go to Roy Aiken's father's house every Sunday and see Big Roy because he was 2 doors up. So maybe that you're getting confused with. But
no, it was definitely Bobby Lennox. It might have been on our podcast. I can't mind, but going to Bobby's door as a it might have been on Axel, I can't mind. Somebody was talking about it. I thought it's a great story. He just chapped his dog, and he came out and just speaking to the Waynes and that, and signing autographs and stuff. So, a very down to earth man, stayed in his roots, his local area, but an absolute legend at the club, and always will be, along with the other Lisbon Lions. But Bobby was, flying down that wing, and just a very quick player, and obviously a big goal scorer, a lot of appearances. I don't know exactly, but it's a huge amount of appearances for Celtic over a very long period of time as well. So a big happy birthday to you, Bobby, if you're watching. I'm sure you are. Watching. So many happy returns.
Now, Jerry, I think it was one of your nephews that was actually involved in the statue, wasn't it? He was, one of the main men that actually dealt with the fundraising for the statue. I'm sure you could talk about Bobby Lennox for like myself, for half an hour to an hour, no bother. And if that's what you want to do, mate, then crack on. We're here for 4 hours, but give some local stories on our Sir Bobby.
I see, Bobby. I've not seen him pretty well, actually. I hope he's keeping well. He's just fixed his own wee life. Got to St Mary's for the wee soup on a Wednesday. Goes to his wee ice cream, he's shopping. Bobby's just a normal, run-of-the-mill guy. His nephew was my best man, Sam Kane, and I'm still pals with his other hand, Big Buzz Lennox. You remember him, Scott?
Yeah.
Big Buzz. Big Buzz would have showed that Japanese boy and how to be a centre half. That was a real centre half, Big Buzz. That's Bobby's nephew. But by the way, Gary was a good player. Both
he was.
It was hard for Gary to maybe under Bobby's name.
Yeah.
I would say Gary was one of the best players I played against because I couldn't sort him out because he had both feet.
Yeah.
Just a lovely wee guy. I mean, you wouldn't think. And by the way, see some of the goals he scored. They reckon he'd have scored more. He got offside a lot of times, and he wasn't offside. So I think you're talking another 30, 40 goals. It should have been in Tapfield. You see wee Bobby, some man. I hope he's keeping well. I've not seen him for a wee while, so hopefully he's keeping well there.
Aye, hopefully, mate. Hopefully, nice words as well there, Jerry. And Paddy, I'm sure you would have seen a good bit of Bobby in your time as well, mate. And just as the guys have said, he comes from my hometown, mate. He's such a humble guy. I used to drink in his bar when I was a boy. Just a lovely guy, and like Jerry said and Andy said, just not a big shot at all. When he could be, and he should be, for his achievements in life, but he's not that guy. And just take it away, mate.
Oh, just a very down to earth guy. We've been fortunate enough to bump into him a few times outside the stadium. The last time was I think it was a semi-final at Hampden. He was in the same car park that our bus was in. And he was happy enough after the game to stand and talk to the young ones and get photographs taken and sign autographs. Just an absolutely proper gentleman. I've been fortunate enough to go there. I've had my photo taken with the statue, so I've been in Salt Coast to see it and stuff. So
all right.
The one thing I will ask is if say we have a transfer deadline day today, the window's shutting down. How long's left of the window? About an hour and a half.
Yeah.
A 25, 26-year-old Bobby Lennox becomes available tonight. How much are you paying for him?
Oof. Deary me. A lot of money, mate. A lot of money.
That just tells you the caliber of the player that he was. So when as Andy said earlier on, when you see the money that's being spent on guys that you're thinking, who is that guy? Who is he? So, you cast your mind back to like a 25, 26-year-old Bobby Lennox at his height. What would Bobby Lennox be worth today? So that's the biggest compliment I can pay him. If his health's not great, I wish him all the very best. I hope he makes a speedy recovery. But just again, from any dealings that we've ever had with him outside the stadium, he's a proper gentleman and always has time for the fans.
Aye, lovely guy. And when you hear guys like Bobby Charlton, who spoke very highly of him, said he was the best player that he ever played against, and you know he wished he'd signed him. And that tells you everything you need to know. What he done against that fantastic Real Madrid team in the Santiago Bernabeu as well. Just a brilliant guy. And for every day at the Four Leaf Clover podcast, Bobby, all the best for your birthday. So let's move back to the transfers out. Andy, we got to Kobayashi. We're now at Benjamin the Shagger Seacrest. Again, another one, probably happy to be third choice goalkeeper and sit and take a wage. Met a lassie for Australia, and his life started to change then. He wanted out of Celtic, and now he's off, mate. He is away to... he's away to Neil Lennon's, wasn't he? He went to join Neil Lennon in Rapid Bucharest. And a couple of days later, Lenny unfortunately left. So Seacrest, Andy, not much to talk about really, but give your thoughts on him.
Aye, see, but right, and I'm going to bring this up. I know we wouldn't ordinarily kind of speak about this, but I'm going to, because it annoys me. Now, you removed a comment, and for good reason as well. But I know who this Mr. Spencer is. All right, I know who it is, and I'm really disappointed that the comments were put up there. So I'll deal with that privately, but that's bang out of order. I just want to say that right away. And if you're watching it now, you're bang out of order, by the way. Talking about Seacrest, it was his time. He was never going to get a chance at Celtic. I liked him and all when he was with Dundee United. Thought he was a great keeper. But for whatever reason, he wasn't in favour at Celtic at all. I think as long as Joe Hart was fit and able to play, he was going to play. And even at that, Bain was brought in before him. And you know it's a bad day when that happens, don't you? You know, when Bain's getting a game before you. It was his time to go. His head was gone anyway, mate. I mean, his head was in Australia with that lassie. You know, you take him on tour and he falls in love. He's never going to be Celtic number one. No point in holding him back. Let him go wherever he wants to go. I thought he would have ended up in Australia at some point, but where is he now? Is it Romania?
Bucharest, Lennox team.
Bucharest. Yep. So he's there. So no harm to him. I did like him when he was with Dundee United, and I was pleased when he did sign, because I thought we're on to a good keeper here. But another one that was a bit of a disappointment, to be honest with you. Didn't seem to be willing to kind of really make waves or kind of try and fight for his place. Almost, he just kind of just went along, mate. You know, it suited him. And I don't like players that are comfy like that. You want players that aren't happy and they want to get a jersey off you, the guy that's ready to go at it. You need a bit of fight in your squad, you know, not just people that are going to sit back and, there's no point trying, is there? Because I'm never going to get in the team. I always get that impression with him that he kind of almost gave up.
Aye, exactly, mate. You're spot on. I just want to jump on what Andy said there, by the way, about Mr. Spence. I don't know who you are. I've seen your comments. Don't come on here and slag MD on this podcast, by the way, or any of the panel. Have your opinions, do whatever it is you want to do. But this is our podcast, and if you want to come on here and slag any of the panel members or whatever it is you want to do, contact us privately and we'll speak to you. There's not an issue with that. There's 4 men on this podcast. If you've got an issue with somebody, message them privately and we'll deal with it. It's not an issue. But don't come on here in the comments causing arguments and spouting shite, because it will not be tolerated and you'll be booted off. Simple as. So, Jerry, Seacrest, give me your thoughts.
I think Andy just basically said what I'm thinking. Was seemed like a guy just to go, just happy, just to, I don't know, fucking make cups of tea, just get Joe the balls. Just be about the ground, be happy. As you say, get to stay. I wouldn't be happy to do that. You know what I mean? And I think that's a bad move with Celtic as well, because even Bain, when we talked about Schmeichel, whatever, but Joe Hart was never pushed. Never pushed with a decent number 2. To me, for the size of the club at Celtic, no having a decent number 2, it wasn't good enough to start with, you know. It's always a good number 2 pushing them. The 2 of them seem to happy just to plod along, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know how many years was he there, 3 years? Any season was there?
Something like that, mate, aye.
3 seasons and just happy to plod along. Nah. Can't do that, can you?
Nah.
Good push.
And as Andy said, Paddy, I think his head was gone, you know, once he met that lassie. But again, a shame for him. Never really got an opportunity at Celtic. He was Dundee United's number one. Came in, promised a lot, and just was never going to displace Joe Hart, was he?
Cracking big goalkeeper. I thought he was a cracking big goalkeeper for Dundee United, and I was delighted when we signed him. I thought, you know, that last we've now got a couple of goalkeepers that are reliable, but I suppose it is always difficult for the goalkeeper if he's not playing. But you know, again, as I go back, I keep saying this, like, you know, Brendan and the coaching staff see these guys every day, you know. So if he's not pushing himself hard enough in training, you know, I'm sure there were times where he could have maybe got a wee run for a couple of games and give Joe Hart a rest, but for whatever reason, Brendan didn't seem to trust him. And then, as Andy said, like, you know, then when it did come down to maybe having to pick somebody, he's seen Scott being in front of him again, you know. So, but the whole thing with a girl, you know, that was only ever going to end up one way. You know, he asked for a move because he wanted to be near where this girl was. So I don't think his head was in it at the finish, you know. So again, good enough big goalkeeper, not a bad big lad, but you know, I think at this stage for his career and for Celtic, best for everybody if he moves on.
Yeah, I think getting Sinasola in is a good bit of business anyway. Somebody who's young, who's hungry, who wants to do well, and he's going to learn loads off Casper Schmeichel. So we'll get to him very soon. So Andy, somebody that we went to Johan Mialby's night in Gracie's in Glasgow, and he spoke about this boy, Gustav Lagerbielke. He is away to FC 20 on loan only. Big Mialby had strong words to say about him as being a fellow Swede. Said that he wasn't good enough to play for Celtic live on the stage. Again, man, another guy that's just he came for big money, mate, and he's just not produced the goods.
Aye, bang on, and I trust Big Johan's opinion. He's somebody that obviously knew him for his home country, and I think his words were, he was baffled. He was baffled at the fact that Celtic went and bought him. Got him in a long contract for a lot of money, and again has had very fleeting performances where it's very hard to get a proper opinion. And somebody that's always stuck in the back of my mind what he said as well, that any time I seen him play, it was always in my head that he's never good enough. Whether he gets to that level, I don't know. Maybe that will help him going out on loan and actually getting regular football will help him. We'll be able to maybe keep an eye on him as well, as much as we can see Dutch football. But he might turn into a player, I don't know. Maybe he's came to Celtic just a wee bit too soon in his career. I'm not going to sit here and say he's absolutely garbage. I just don't think he's shown enough in his time at Celtic and our team that he is good enough. But he might go away and come back a better player, or it might just be a fact of farming him out and eventually getting him to go somewhere else on a full-time basis and get him off the books altogether. Whatever, I think time will tell. I think give him a chance when he's on loan and see how he does. But when I say that, you're talking about players going out on loan, and then there's Barkas went out on loan and was absolutely magic for the team he went to, you know, and I don't think there was any danger of him coming back. No, just for the fact it was a difficult season to come in, Barkas, and, you know, settling into a new country, not being able to kind of mingle with MD and stuff like that. But for what we've seen of Barkas as well, ability-wise, he was never good enough for Celtic. I think possibly Bielka is going to be in that same kind of bracket unless he shows something really special on his loan period. Yeah.
For me, Jerry, his time at Celtic's up for me. I don't see the point in the loan, if I'm being honest. I don't think he's ever going to be a Celtic player. I hope he goes away because he's away on loan. You know, I hope he goes away and proves me wrong. But him and Rocky both come in for £4 million plus, mate. Young boys expecting to hit the ground running. It just hasn't happened for any of the two of them. But Lagerbielke, Give us your thoughts on him, Jerry, and how do you see this loan going for him?
Oh, straight away, he's a Swedish international, isn't he? Player, so he's got something about him. You know what I mean? Straight away. But I still wanted to go to loan to Aberdeen or Hibs. So he's still about our league. He's still playing in our league. He's in our environment. So I'd have preferred that to happen for a season at least, to see how it went with that one. But I think, as you say, he's a bit Dutch football now. I don't think you'll see him again now, the boy. But he's still young, he's 23, 22, 23.
Yeah, young, mate.
So I don't know. This didn't maybe came to Celtic and just realised how big it is, and it's back to them. But I said the other week there was that I still like to see them get games, but then again, where do you find the games to give them? We've not got a decent league, reserve league, or nothing to give them games in there. So if he doesn't get a game in the first team, you're not going to drop Big Vickers or somebody for him. Scales is, well, to be fair to Scales, Scales done a good job, but we're looking to go better than Scales now, isn't we?
Aye.
There's not really a place we can put him, can we, to see the best of him. He's not going to get a run of games. I'd like to see him going to Aberdeen for a season under his old manager. See how he went, but I don't think we'll see him again. I think he'll end up back here or that way.
Aye.
Europe. You know what
Aye,
I mean?
brilliant shout there, Jerry. I'm with you, mate. I would have sent him up to Aberdeen with his old manager and maybe got that, the old Lagerbielke back at him that obviously he was producing before he came to Celtic. So, Paddy, Lagerbielke away on loan, would you like to have just seen us cut our losses with him, get shot at him, or are you looking forward to seeing what he can produce on this loan?
Do you know what, Scott? It's similar to Kobayashi for me. The only difference is, like, I did see that side to him. I did see the physical side to him where he was attacking the ball and stuff like that. But I thought he just wasn't. It was the fact that he's so immobile. He seemed to have the mobility that we needed to play at the back. Not a bad big player attacking the ball, coming down the field. When they had the ball at his feet, or when the ball was, somebody was coming towards him with the ball, and like you saw that goal at Ibrox last year that got disallowed. Fair enough, we caught a break there because he was probably fouled, but again, it was his own fault. He started fanning about on the ball and then headed back towards his own goals, and then he got tripped up. But again, that just came from him not being comfortable on the ball with the ball at his feet. So I just don't think the guy would ever. I don't think the guy will ever be. He'll never be a Vickers. He'll never be a Scales. He'll never be a. He'll just not. He won't fit into that style of a player that Brendan wants. He wants players who can play out from the back and they're comfortable in the ball, but they can also do the physical side as well. And I just think he was sadly lacking in that. Listen, if he goes abroad, the Dutch league is a very similar standard to our own. So he'll get his chance there to prove himself. They will test him physically as well, and yourself, the Dutch are always encouraging teams to play total football and all the rest of it. So I would love nothing better than to be proved wrong, but I'll be surprised if we ever see him in a Celtic shirt again.
Aye, I'm with you, Paddy. I'm definitely with you. And Craig McLean there's come up with a cracking point. To be fair, they're both probably worth that money. I think he's going on a bit in a rocky. I'm just assuming. But a price tag doesn't make you a Celtic player. Having the talent is one thing. Being able to hand the pressure at Celtic is another. Hail. Aye, you're bang on, Craig. We just spoke about it there earlier with Mikey Johnson, Lagerbielke, Kobayashi, the guys that we have got ready. Was the Celtic jersey too big for these guys? Aye, it was, and I think that was proven. And Scott McRae's coming away with a good one there as well. Hopefully, get some game time in the Europa League. I'm assuming, Scott, that he's going to go there and be the number one centre half for that team. So let's hope he does, and comes back a better player. So, Andy, after Lagerbielke, we move on to Kwon, who again has went out, as Jerry alluded to earlier, to another SPFL team. He was at St Mirren last season, by all accounts, done well. Now he's away to Hibs. Again, I think he's another player for me that we'll never see in a Celtic jersey. So I don't really see the point yet, but best of luck to the boy, and let's see how he gets on.
I think he done well at St Mirren. I would have, if he was going to go on loan, I would have liked him to get back to St Mirren. I think he done think he felt quite at home there, to be honest with you. He was putting in good performances. I think it's a bad time for him to be going to Hibs. I don't think they are in particularly good shape. They're in a bit of a mess. They're not quite hitting the levels that they should be. I always think Hibs are kind of underachievers in a way as well. They should be doing a lot better than they normally do. I would rather have seen him, if he was in Scotland, gone to a St Mirren or an Aberdeen, so a better team. I don't think Hibs are a very good team, so I don't know how it will work out for him, to be honest with you. I don't know if we're actually going to see the best of him in his time at Hibs, so I think it's the wrong team, mate. I'm not against him going on loan, and especially in Scotland, but I think it might be a wrong team for him.
Aye. I think Hibs have got this link up now with Brentford, and the money's been getting pumped into them now, so I think they're going to progress. It'll probably be January before we see all that sort of coming to fruition with them, but aye, it might be the wrong team just now, but I think we'll see a better Hibs come January for sure. And Jerry, another one, the big man there that we were just talking about, away to Hibs, Quan. What's your thoughts on him? I've not really seen much of him. Again, do you see it as a waste of time, maybe going to Hibs, as Andy alluded to, or would you like to just see losses again?
As you say, we've not seen much of him, have we? I think Celtic's tried to tap into a couple of markets to... It's just no work, does it? Some of the players come in, like the Korean boys and that. It's no work, some of them. Sometimes you just got to draw a line under it, but I don't know if St Mirren, I think he tried to keep him again, didn't he?
Aye.
So maybe he rated him, so... I think Robinson tried to keep him. He's went to Hibs now. I think it's one of the ones. I think this is his last chance, isn't it? If he does well at Hibs, fine, but it's another one I've not seen much of, to be fair.
Aye.
Just a quick word that. Kevin Thompson, I worked with Big Kev, another lorry driver there. So, hello to Big Kev. Hope you're doing well, mate. I've seen your pictures in Facebook. You're looking absolutely gorgeous and fantastic. So, you're looking well, mate. Thanks for the call, mate.
Welcome to the pod, mate. Jerry, you got to finish off there?
But just because Andy was saying that, the boy's got my craze. That's my brother-in-law. Goes with my sister. Scott. So he is.
Good lad. Paddy, Quan, give us your thoughts on him, mate. Paddy, we can't hear you. I think you've muted yourself, mate.
Sorry, mate.
There you go.
That's me.
Now.
Again, similar to what the guys did, we were probably shopping in that market at the time when we brought in Yang and Quan, and I mean Yang is still, the jury's still out for me on him, but I remember the guy Quan the first time. I think it was a friendly. Was it against Atletico Bilbao? I might be wrong. I think it was a friendly. They gave him a run out, and the guy just looked 3 yards short of anything. Yeah. You know, so again, listen, he did well. I think he did reasonably well for St Mirren. I think they would have taken him again, you know, but I don't really, you know, listen, it'll be good for him to get another run out with somebody and see if he can maybe make a fist of it. But, you know, again, he's another one. I think, you know, if you haven't seen him in a Celtic jersey, I think you've missed your chance. I don't think we'll see him again, you know, just not for me, not a Celtic player.
Aye, another one, an absolute other one. And gentlemen, I think we finish off with one last guy there. Andy, if you can just get rid of that banner there. We have got Joe Hart was the last person to leave the club, Andy. So, you know, you'll never run out of superlatives for Joe Hart. Absolutely brilliant for us. I know you weren't a massive fan of the guy, but we can't deny the job that he done for Celtic and the send-off he got. Just give us your overall thoughts on Joe Hart's sort of 3 seasons at Celtic, Andy.
I think overall, his time at Celtic was obviously a success. You know, he won loads of trophies and stuff like that, and he had the odd mistake in him, which I wasn't so in pointing out, to be honest with you. So I was probably seen as a Joe Hart hater, but I wasn't. I just thought we could have done better. I think he really embraced the club, and the fans embraced him as well, and became probably seen as a cult hero, I suppose, in a way. Big Joe Hart. I think we were just came at the right time when he thought his career was almost over. I'm pretty sure he wasn't expecting the fact that if he thought his career was over, he was going to come into Celtic and play in the Champions League again and win trophies, and the support would love him and give him so much affection. And I think that's why he's really kind of got a real affection for the club now, and probably will have for the rest of his life. We've had that much of an effect on him. And you find that with a lot of players, don't you, that they know who Celtic are, but they don't really get it till they get here. Then they get it, and then it never leaves them, does it? You know, it always seems to stick with these players. Seen it with Big Dembele and all. I mean, they believe maybe they maybe don't go on with the manager or something like that, but, you know, they've always got an affection for the club. So I think overall, obviously, his time was successful here. And I think he deserved to send off to go. I think it was a fantastic effort for the fans and the GB in particular with a big display they put up for him. I think that really got him. You know, his emotional side, you could see it on the park. But even at like different interviews, I've heard him saying that he's, you know, you can tell how passionate he is about Celtic now, just with the tone of his voice and that, and the way he puts things across. So, overall, he was a good goalkeeper for Celtic, I would say, more than negative. Definitely.
We kind of got wrong, Jerry. You know, we got him for about £1 million or something like that. It was at first I was kind of like, Christ, is he coming in as second or third choice goalkeeper? You know, he's had a terrible time at it. After he left Man City, it was a shame for the boy. You know, he's kind of get punted out to different club after different club, and it just wasn't happening for him. He lost his place in the England team. But 60 odd caps for England, mate, and he came up for us. And I'm not going to say he was a revelation. I think that's too strong a word. But he was solid enough for us. He done a job, and he took the club to his heart, which is the main thing for us as fans. The big man was brilliant.
I thought Joe came in just at the right time. So he did after the podcast and that, terrible. So Joe came in at a great time for us. As you say, God, we didn't want him to retire. We wanted him to stick for an extra year, but now we've got Schmeichel. No disrespect to him, I'm glad he retired. You know what I mean? So I've changed my opinion there. I'm glad he retired now after seeing Schmeichel. But I came in at the right time. Celtic just put a cuddle on him, didn't he?
Yeah.
Listen, that's what he needed. Joe, as you say, was lost and he's came back, he's realised. And Joe will probably say to other folk, it isn't all about the money, is it? Obviously, you can say that when you've got a bit, but he's come up there, experiencing it. Just to me, the way it's obviously keepers are all about saves, but the way he spoke to the defence and keeping everything going, and to me, I like that side of it as well. You know, to me, you don't see many folk arguing now. Players, see the players arguing, Scott. You don't see much of that now. No.
Aye.
I like to see a bit of arguing and a bit of keep it going. You know. I thought Joe Hart was great 2 seasons there. Not I mean, for him. I thought he done well for us.
Absolutely brilliant. And West of Scotland Football League there. New viewer, good luck, guys. Thank you very much. We're a brand new podcast, lads. So yeah, please like, share, and subscribe. We're going to do the full 4 hours tonight. We've still got plenty of content, believe it or not. And we're 4 old codgers, and not one of us has been for a Jew's wish it either, which is quite incredible. Unless
I think it's only 3 years, Scotty. I think he won the shots at 11, didn't it?
Aye.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is it 11, is it?
It's 11, yeah.
Happy days. We'll get
There's 1 hour exactly to go.
Right, that's fine. We'll get another hour's content out of this. Easy. We'll still get the Champions League draw to talk about, lads, and we've still got the transfers in, which is still happening as we speak. I believe Paul McFarlane there. We have, gentlemen, by the looks of things, a little bit of. It looks like Celtic have now broken their transfer record for the second time in a week, and Engels has signed, and it is official coming from our Paul McFarlane there. So that's absolutely brilliant news. £11 million. Didn't think I'd ever see the day that Celtic would break the transfer record twice in a week. And we'll get on to it, lads. But Paddy, I just want to finish off with you, mate, with Joe Hart. Just give us your thoughts on him in the 3 seasons that he was at Celtic.
The big man was different class, Scott. You know, he talked about, you know, he thought he was coming to an end and he had fell out of love with the game type of thing. And he didn't really know what to expect from the Celtic move, but he very quickly realised that this was something very special. Probably for ourselves, you know, for me anyway, you know, that solved the problem, a major problem. That whole Barkas situation, until we address that, even, you know, I remember saying that even early on to Ange, unless we do something about that goalkeeping situation, we're not going to get very far. So to go out and bring in a goalkeeper of the caliber of Joe Hart, the guy was different class. You know, just that relationship. You've heard various managers talking about that relationship with the goalkeeper and the two centre halves. That's crucial to any defence. You've got to have that. You've got to have that relationship. The 2 fullbacks are involved in it as well, but it's that wee one in the middle there with the goalkeeper and the 2 centre halves. That's the one that matters. And very, very quickly, Joe Hart established a relationship with the likes of Starfelt and Big Carter Vickers and now Scales and people like that. You know, so different class. Couldn't possibly say a bad word about him.
Aye, absolutely brilliant for us, lads. And we wish you all the best, Joe, in your retirement. So let's move on. We've got an hour left of the show. Thank you so much for joining us. We've managed to get 2 hours content already, and still loads to talk about. We've got 2 new signings in. As we've been on live, Austin Trusty has signed a 5-year deal, we believe, and we're just getting information for you guys because we're on live. So Austin Trusty has signed, and Engels, we believe, is in the building and has put pen to paper as well. So 2 signings already since we've been live on air, which is great to see. We've managed to get 2 hours of content, like I said. And now, lads, we're going to move on to the Champions League draw. So, Champions League draw, as we all know, was made yesterday. And Celtic were drawn against 8 teams. So, Scottish champions Celtic have been drawn against 2 of Germany's top teams, RB Leipzig at home and Borussia Dortmund away. Let me get a shot of that. The Hoops defeated RB Leipzig at Paradise in the Europa League back in 2018 and also faced them in the 2022-23 UEFA Champions League group stages. And the German side will return to Paradise for this season's UEFA Champions League clash. Borussia Dortmund, who the Celts last faced in 1992, reached the UEFA Champions League last season, where they were defeated by Real Madrid. Brendan Rodgers' side will travel to iconic Signal Iduna Park for the league phase match against the Bundesliga giants. We'll also face the Europa League winners Atalanta, Club Brugge, Young Boys of Bern, Dinamo Zagreb, Slovan Bratislava, and John McGinn's Aston Villa. So the fixture dates and details will be announced tomorrow by UEFA. So, gentlemen, that's where we're at with the Champions League draw. Just before I come round the table, I've done a little feature on 3 of the teams that we will be facing. So, the Europa League winners, Atalanta, formed in 1907. Their stadium's 27,950. Their manager, Gasperini. Their star man, Italian international, who was a joint top goal scorer last season. Europa League winners once, Italian Cup winners once, and did you know no club in Italy has been promoted to Serie A more times than Atalanta? The next team I've picked out is a mouth-watering tie against the finalists last year, Borussia Dortmund, who were formed in 1909. 81,365 all-seater stadium, which will be belting out You'll Never Walk Alone. Nuri Sahin is their manager, and Emre Can is the captain and 47 times capped German international. Champions League winners once with our Paul Lambert in the side. European Cup winners cup once. German champions 8 times, German Cup winners 5 times. And did you know the first European trophy success came at Hampden Park in 1966 against Liverpool? And the last team we're going to focus on in our group is RB Leipzig, who were only formed in 2009, just 3 years before the Rangers, which is incredible, really. Red Bull Arena is 47,069. Marco Rosa is the manager, and Openda scored 24 goals in 34 games last season. German Cup winners twice, and have played Celtic and Rangers in the past 3 years. So, Andy, I will come to yourself first, mate. I don't know if you watched the draw live yesterday. Maybe let us know about that, and basically what you thought about it, and what do you think our chances are?
I didn't see the draw, mate. I was driving. I was away down in Cornwall, trying to get up the road. But pleasantly surprised with the draw, I've got to say. I know we're talking about, we spoke about who we wanted in the draw, and I wanted some big guns. I think we've got that. I really do. I think going to Dortmund's going to be amazing. There's a good affinity between the fans. There has been for years, and that stadium is just something else. A great fan base. Along the same lines as us when it comes to the whole mindset and all that kind of thing, you know. Leipzig are a difficult team, I think. Aston Villa, you didn't even mention Aston Villa there, did you? I was just going to bring that up myself, mate. I think that's a great draw. I think that's going to be fantastic down there, going down to play them. And Atalanta, a really good footballing team. Their manager plays some really good stuff. I think he's been there a long time, as far as I'm aware. So he's been working with his players for a long time. And they deservedly won that final last year against Leverkusen, who were absolutely flying at the time. And by the way, they destroyed them. They absolutely like to play with them. So getting out there, and you know what your record's like away from home, especially abroad as such, it's going to be difficult. As good as we are playing now, and I don't think we're really prepared properly for a real stunt in the Champions League. But I want to talk about that later, what I think, why that is, right? But we'll bring it up later. Well, just remind me about it, because I'll forget. I'm getting old now, I'm forgetting things. But I think, looking at our home games especially, I think we've got a good chance, and we should be looking at that saying we can take some scalps here. I think we need to turn Celtic Park into a fortress again. No somewhere where opposition fans come and just kind of want to take photos of it all and then go, oh, what an atmosphere this was. That's very good, but we lost the game now. That's no good. You want them to fear coming. Always remember that big banner. Who was it against? Was it against Lazio? Or who was it? Your fear is here. Wasn't it the big banner? Your fear is here. So we need it to be like that. But I'm pretty pleased with you've got the mixture of kind of cracking ties, really difficult ties, and other ones you look at it and you go, we've got a really good chance of getting something out of this. So I think if we try and get as much points as we can at home, I think we've got a really good chance, because we could nick something. Villa could be it. And Paddy said in the chat, actually, you know, they're not really any great shakes, Aston Villa. But it's that whole battle of Britain thing that's going to come up in it, because it's Scottish and English teams against each other.
I think Young Boys are actually bottom of the league, I believe, as well. I get told, so they've not started off well as well.
They're always there or thereabouts, aren't they? They're always in there. They're always, they always seem to be in there.
Aye. So, Jerry, I don't know if you actually seen the Champions League draw live, mate, or what was your thoughts on it at the time? And for me, I think the home ties kind of look bankers for me, and they should be. But I think Atalanta and Dortmund is going to be, for sure, the two toughest games that we face. But Aston Villa, they're there for the taking for me and all.
I'll be honest, Scott, I watched the draw. I was a wee bit lost at first. I was starting to wonder what was happening at first, what's happening. But four cracking draws. I spoke about it last week, saying that I know Andy wanted to glamour-tise and get everything going, but you know what? They 4 home games are winnable. Leipzig, that's the hard one. The other 3 could be takers for us. The Leipzig one could go 50-50 anyway. Maybe even the Club Brugge one could go anyway. But listen, we need to get back to Celtic Park now. And as Andy says there, we need to make ourselves hard to beat again. We need to start getting back to picking up points, staying well. Listen, you can't beat the Champions League. I've been going there for years since it's been going. There's just a different feeling about the stadium on the Champions League nights. The buzz is just still brilliant. It's unbelievable. I mean, when you come out to that tunnel, you'll never walk alone. It's still hard to beat. I think every fan puts it in and all as well as the players. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I feel shattered after a Champions League night. You're drained. You're drained with the passion and emotions of the night. It's just a great tournament to be in. And as I say, but the way ties will get Dortmund's was it one Real Madrid final last?
Jim's right. You're getting sacked. We're getting Paul in next year.
I need to start up with it, mate. I'm fucking Mars is getting into cramp.
Sorry, Jerry. Crack on, mate.
The Dortmund away one is a hard one. They were in the cup final last year with Real Madrid. That's very hard over there. Atlanta 3-0 with Leverkusen. Zagreb are just a bit like ourselves, by the way, quite strong at home and not great away. Zagreb. So it's not a hard one over there. If we talk about Villa, it's another British tie. We've done well in the British ties over the years, haven't we? We've had a good record. So, but the away games for me, we need to be more disciplined, Scott. We can't keep going down to 10 men. See that level, different ball game. You get down to 10 men, the tie's as good as by for me. So a bit better discipline in the away games, and I think they're going to be hard. But the home games are three good wins there. I think maybe a draw with Leipzig would be a great achievement there. But I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. It's something else. The Champions League nights, brilliant.
Aye. Paddy, I looked at a new format and I wasn't too enamoured by it, to be honest with you. I didn't think it was going to be up to much, but I'm actually quite excited, mate. I think it is going to be a better competition now with that. Did you watch the draw, mate? Did you see it live? And what's your overall thoughts on Celtic's group?
Well, fortunately, I work from home on a Thursday, so I was able to get finished up, sort it, and get the TV on. So I was able to watch it live. A wee bit confusion at the start to see how it was going to work because it was totally different from the previous formats where you're all the pots and all. But the one thing I think that it has done has been a great leveler. Because if you look at fair enough, the old style, if you end up in pot 3 or pot 4, you were up against it. You were up against it in every single game. But if you look at the draw now, like I don't like to use the word easy, but we've got on paper an easier group than some of the teams in pot 1 and pot 2. If you look at the groups that Arsenal have ended up in and Liverpool have ended up in, teams that end up in pot 1, we've as I say, the away games are going to be tough for us because we seem to struggle away from home no matter who we play. But our 4 home games are certainly from my point of view, would be definitely very winnable. I don't see any reason why we can't take on all those teams that we're playing at home. And then I don't think there's anything at all to fear from Aston Villa. Decent enough side, but they're not a top Premiership side by any manner of means. I feel we could maybe get something away from home. Zagreb's going to be difficult. Dortmund's going to be difficult. Atalanta played some stuff last year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Atalanta beat Liverpool home and away in the run to the final last year.
Yes,
I think they won. Mm-hmm. I think they won both legs against Liverpool. Mm-hmm. So they're obviously no mugs either. So again, as the guys have said, like just different gravy. The Champions League nights, just the whole atmosphere. Even when you're traveling to the game, on the day you're heading over, and it's just a different atmosphere. And then under the lights and the music, and and you're seeing the best players in the world, and it's just a different environment. Plus, as I said to you before, you need to enjoy it because it's the one place that we can. At the minute, it's the one place where we can make a bit of decent money. We don't get an awful lot of money from from domestic football. So it's the one place we do. But the one thing I will say about it is it's given us far more of a chance now of progressing than the old style. Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. I absolutely feel we have a far bigger chance of progressing, and that's because of the new format. You know, the old style was very, very tough. If you were in pot 4, or even pot 3, you were in with some cracking teams there. So like we've avoided the really big guns. You know, you're not in with Real Madrid, you're not in with Bayern Munich, you're not in with Manchester City. You know, and as I say, if you look at some of the other teams who were in pot 1 and pot 2, they would have taken our group in a heartbeat.
Aye.
So it'll be interesting for me to see the you're only playing one game at home and one away. You don't play the same team twice. You're only playing them, you're only playing them at home. It's that, that will be a wee bit different because you're always sitting, when you're coming out of Celtic Park, you think, well, we'll take them in the second leg or whatever, you know what I mean? But it'll just take a wee bit of while to get used to it. But for me, it looks they had to do something. I think they had to do something because it was becoming a bit stale, because it was the same teams who were always in the last 8 or the last 4.
Yeah.
I think UEFA had to do something, and I think they were very aware. If you cast your mind back to the whole, they were talking about this breakaway Super League, I think they were very conscious that they needed to do something because some of the really big clubs were a bit disgruntled with the way the whole thing was going. So I think that UEFA had to step up and do something. And whilst I wasn't sure at all about it, I think now when you see it and you see the way it's been laid out, I think it'll actually be a good tournament. And as I say, I honestly feel that the games that we have, especially given the home games, if we can make Celtic Park a very difficult place for away teams to come again and get our 3 points, pick something up along the way in 1, maybe 2 of the away games, you end up with a chance of at least making a wee bit of progress. And that's exactly what we're looking for. We're not expecting Brendan to go in and win the Champions League this year. We're not expecting that at all. But we do want to see players who are coming in, and I think the caliber players that we're bringing in this evening will add to that squad, and it'll give us a chance to actually progress in Europe. So what would progress look like for us? Progress for me would be if we can win a game or 2 away from home, make Celtic Park a fortress again and pick up 4 wins out of 4. For me, that would be tremendous. That would be a sign that we're at least moving in the right direction. And then again, as the boys said earlier, if we can get into that competition for the next couple of years again, that's when the whole it just transforms everything about you. Gives you the money to bring in better players, and it gives you more exposure so other players see the progress that you're making. So I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a good experience for us again this year. And the thing is, I don't think we're going to be worried about getting embarrassed in too many places. I think it's given us a chance to fight our corner.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate. And I think we've got the best squad that we've had for a long time. You can see it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing these new boys adding to that as well. So we'll just get in the table quickly then, Andy. Do you see Celtic progressing to the latter stages this season? Or would you be happy, sort of getting into the playoffs and going sort of latter stages Europa League? Where do you see Celtic this season? Do you think we'll get out of that group, or would you be happy with a sort of longer run in the Europa League?
But the thing is, we don't go into Europa League, do we?
Is it no good? I thought the bottom teams get into a playoff or something, no?
No, I don't think they do.
It's a playoff to advance into the Champions League, isn't it?
Aye, so once you're out, you're out. I hope I'm not in that position. My whole point is that I don't think we have. I don't want to be all negative here, right? But I'm trying to be realistic that I don't think we've invested enough into the team at this point. I know we're bringing in players tonight, but to really make a dent in the Champions League, I think we've kind of let time slip away a wee bit too much for that. I think we definitely had an opportunity to do that in the summer because we've got the cash there, we've got the funds. Maybe the whole recruitment system has let us down in that department, but I think we're going to have a go anyway, and I think we'll fare better than last year. So if that's progress, then so be it. Even if it's one scalp or a couple of scalps, we certainly need to. And if it's going to be small steps, then so be it. But I think, and I'll tell you what I think. I think Celtic don't want to invest in a team that's going to do make a major dent in European football. Because in my opinion, if Celtic get a squad together that can make a serious impression in Europe, or a far better impression than they have done in the last 20 years, then that domestically, nobody will touch us domestically, and it will put an end to that other mob across the city. If our squad is good enough at this moment to take care of Scottish football, and we're looking to improve a good bit to make a dent in Europe, then they're even further away, mate. And it gets to the point you've got Nico. This is what my mindset is what the board are thinking. If we get too far away, we always say that, right, Scotty? This is the time to put your foot on their neck. For me, the Celtic board are happy with aim at arm's length, within touching distance, but just far enough away not to trouble them too much. And I think they probably see that as long as we invest a certain amount, we'll always be able to do that. If we invest too much in it, we're going to be so far ahead of them. There's no competition. It becomes boring. And then all of a sudden you're looking at parts of the stand getting shut out again because it's not even exciting anymore. I think they're looking at it from that point of view. As much as we are shouting, just invest the money, let's go and do it in Europe. I think they're looking at a longer term and saying, this could actually work against us. I don't agree with that, but that's what I think.
Right. Potentially, mate. Potentially. I was getting confused with the playoff thing, and Paul McFarlane or Fabrizio has came away with it there. So teams 1 to 8 automatically qualify. I think it's going to be obviously your pot 1 and pot 2 teams that are going to qualify automatically as ever. Teams 9 to 24 go into the playoffs, and teams 25 to 36 go out to the Champions League. So it's the playoffs I was on about, Andy. Yeah, I think we've got a great opportunity to get into that sort of 9 to 24 bracket. That's what we should be aiming for in this sort of group stage.
Yep. Well, that's what Brendan came in for. That's why he came back, was to improve in Europe. So I don't think my whole point is I don't think we've invested enough to really make that next step. Maybe we might be able to take a scalp or two, as I said, but maybe no progress as much as what we're hoping for, as much as what Brendan is expecting us today, because that initial investment hasn't been there when it comes to quality. Because these other teams that you think, they're just ordinary Champions League teams, but European football is so different than domestic football. The quality is such a jump. I think that's why we find it difficult, because we're only getting challenged enough domestically, and we've got to totally change our game when we then go to Europe, and it's really difficult to do that at times. Yeah.
So, Jerry, I mean, looking at that, would you be looking for Celtic to get into that playoffs and potentially progress even further, or do you think we're not quite there yet?
I don't know, but don't get me wrong. If you asked me that yesterday or the day before, I'd have went no chance of getting through, but I've seen the home ties now. There is a bit of hanging there for us to go and do better. As I think baby steps a wee bit for me, I'm thinking we've got to, as long as we start improving at home, if you can get 3 wins there and a draw and pick up 2 wee draws away, and if that's enough points to get us through to, then brilliant. I'd be over the moon with that. And if that's not enough, so be it. But I see it as then, but we can't stop next year again. I think we've got to get into the road of bringing in 3 quality players, 2 quality players every window.
Every season,
if you're going to start. But to me, that's an improvement. As Andy says there, it's a different ball game. These teams don't need 2 and 3 chances to score a goal. 1 chance, both scored, you're out, you're beat. So, improvement that way for me, I'd be happy. But then, if it's different, you might look at the team and say, no, let's go for it. But just think, I'm looking for improvement because it's been quite bad lately, to be honest. No, it's
for sure.
Time for a change. Time for a change. The fact is, I'll put my hands up and say I was maybe one of the fans was happy to be just above winning, beating Rangers. As I've seen now, young fans coming up, they're absolutely right. Let's go and start doing better in Europe. They're right. I was one of the fans that was like, I'm happy just to get by with beating Rangers now. It's maybe now it is time we need to start doing better in Europe. So the fair play to them, know what I mean? We need to start bottom on a bit. So we're Scott.
Aye, bang on, Jerry, bang on. Paddy, Jerry's right. You know, we've got the budget, we've got the manager, we've got the squad, we've got the players. Everything's there at the minute. Everything's rosy in the garden. We're breaking the transfer record twice in a week. So the progression is certainly there for us all to see. Where do you see Celtic? How do you see Celtic even getting on in this Champions League league phase? Do you see us? I don't see us getting in the top 8, but do you see us getting into that group of the playoffs, or is it a year too early?
It possibly could, Scott. The European progression for us is going to be a step at a time, you know, and I think we've sort of, the last couple of transfer windows have been disappointing. We could have been making progress a wee bit earlier, but you know, they're showing signs now tonight that, you know, maybe the message is getting through to the people who spend the money that, you know, we do. Brendan's right. We do need to speculate, to accumulate, and we need to be a wee bit more bolder and a bit more braver because, you know, like this young guy Engels, like from what I can gather, you know, I mean, we could end up, this guy will rip it up in Scotland. So we could end up keeping this guy for a couple of years and selling him on for big dough, you know. Yeah. So, but as like the way we need to look at it is, it's going to be very, very difficult for us to finish in the top 8. So you need to look at it as look at it at what the format used to be like. So the top 8 teams in this league section, that's going to be like us trying to finish first or second in one of the older groups. Yeah. That was always going to be a tough ask, you know, that for Celtic to finish first or second. So that's going to be a very, very big ask for us. So 9 to 24, again, that's like, so teams who will finish 9 to 24 will be the teams who will be normally battling for the third place in the group and go through as one of the best third place qualifiers. And I think that's where I think that should be very doable for us, given the group that we've been given. The difference with this one is, you know, you've got these, they're not 2-leg ties anymore. So you know, you're not going to play Real Madrid home and away. You're not going to play, you know, you're only going to get one crack at these teams. And, you know, if you can beat one of the teams, get your 3 points in the bag, that's it. You're done with them. You don't have to see them again. So this is where I'm saying the new format will definitely benefit us, because there's going to be a lot of other bigger games amongst the bigger teams. The bigger teams are going to be playing each other a lot earlier in the tournament than they would have been previously. You know, so if you look at the teams who were in pot 1, so the teams who were in pot 1 were playing a team from pot 2, a team from pot 3, and a team from pot 4. But look at the draw now. You know, the teams from pot 1 are playing another team from pot 1 and 2 teams from pot 2. You know, so you're going to get those big teams that they're going to be coming up against each other. That's why you're going to see teams like Liverpool and AC Milan and Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. They're all going to be playing each other a lot earlier than they would have been. And when you look at our draw, as I say, I keep saying it, you know, the home games, especially Leipzig and Slovan Bratislava, Club Brugge, those are the kinds of club we should already be competing with those guys. Absolutely. You know, those clubs are not on a par with us in any way, shape, or form. So there's no reason why we can't be competing against the likes of those clubs. So if we can do some damage in our home games, and then pick up something away from home, I don't think it's unrealistic to think that we could maybe finish in the top 24 or the top 22nd or 3rd or whatever. I think we could get in there, and that would be the equivalent of finishing like a well-placed third team in the old style format. And then if that gets you into the playoff, again, you could get into the playoffs and get a reasonably favourable draw, and who knows how far you can go after that. So I think definitely for us this year, looking at progress, which is what we're all after, we're looking for progress in Europe, a sign that we're moving forward and we're at least able to compete. I think for us to be able to make it into the playoff round would be a big step for us.
Aye, bang on, mate. Absolutely bang on. So cracking points again, gentlemen. So let's move on. We've 2 more topics to talk about. And the first one is we've got a small fixture on Sunday, Andy, against the gentleman from across the city, and it's back to this time again. And Dies in Maeda little James Tavernier up and flings him in his back pocket as ever. So let's cover the game on Sunday. Now, some breaking news coming out of Celtic today was that big Cameron Carter-Vickers missed training, apparently. So he could potentially be a doubt for the game on Sunday, which is worrying. However, with the new signings in, it might not be as much of a big blow as it could have been. We could have had Liam Scales in there. Yes, Paddy?
No, I heard earlier on Brendan on the radio saying that he had been given an extra rest day. There was no injury. Just given him. He just got weak because we were the same. When I heard it this morning, I was like, "Oh, here we go." But no, I heard his interview partly on the radio earlier on, and he said that he had just given him a rest day, just to let him go. Again, I don't think there's any injury. So
right, that's good. That's good.
Fingers crossed, the big man will be all right.
That's good to hear, and I'm sure him and Big Casper will have a rest day on Sunday as well. So he'll get another day off then, hopefully as well. So Andy, let's just talk about the game, mate. Give me your starting 11 straight away. Does Craig Taylor does he drop to the bench for the new boy Alex Val? And how do you see Celtic lining up? And then we'll finish off with our score predictions.
Normally I could just fire out the lineup, no problem, mate. I'm really kind of a bit torn because I really don't know. To be honest with you, we've got some options there and decisions to be made with Brendan. Me, obviously, signings that have come in. I'd like to see Arnie Engels play. I really would. I'm really, really excited about this guy. I think he's going to be an absolute superstar. And what a way to unleash him at Celtic Park against them. I think it's the stars are aligning for some very interesting debuts on Sunday. When it comes to Greg Taylor, I think he's been pretty solid since the start of the season. He's no done much wrong. I don't think he's really been tested, I've got to be honest with you. I don't think we've played any teams that have been really great quality, and I'm not including the pre-season in that, because obviously we did play quality in America, albeit it was there kind of, with a lot of our main players missing there, but I think he might start Taylor. But how do you say that boy's name? Is it Val or Val? Or
I think it's Alex Val. In Spanish, you would say Valle in Spanish, but I don't know if that's how it's pronounced either. I'm not sure.
I think he'll get a run out. I think he might be on the bench and get a run out. I think he might still go with Scales, I know, rather than Trusty coming in and starting that game. I may be wrong. I just think he might go with his kind of tried and trusted kind of guys that have been there for the start of the season and performed really well. As I said, Engels, I'd like to see him start, and I'm looking forward to seeing Maida absolutely rip Tavernier to shreds again, because I never get tired of that. That is just total entertainment for me. You can see the panic on his face. He'll be having sleepless nights probably all this week, just thinking about coming up against Maida, because he's an absolute nightmare to play against. He's a perfect teammate, and he just gives him hell every time he plays against him. I'm looking forward to that. Would I start Kyogo or Ida? I think he's going to start Kyogo. I think he is. Yeah. But they might target Kyogo, I know. No need to go to that injury. They might try and give him a wee bump here and there and try and put him out of the game. So I'd be wary of that. We're never going to see two up front. It's just not going to happen. But it would be interesting to see if we had Ida on to give Kyogo a wee bit of protection in that department. Take a bit away off his shoulder, excuse the pun, but to free it and give him even more space to move into, if he's keeping the defenders occupied physically. That's never going to happen, but that's back to the old days, isn't it? The kind of Martin O'Neill era when you had the two guys up front, the kind of smaller guy and the bigger guy, Harrison, Sutton, and obviously Larson. But I'd like to see that, but it's not going to happen. So, pretty much apart from that, I think it's I'd like to see Engels coming in. I'd like to see him start, but whether he's been playing regular anyway, isn't he? Yeah. So far, it's not as if he's not up to speed. For the Belgian team as well, apparently, mate. Unless you're going to come away with a Philip Clement excuse he's got to go and buy fucking furniture for IKEA or something like that, you know, for his new flat, then there's no reason why you can't play.
Aye, spot on, mate. So, Jerry, do you agree with Andy? Maybe get Engels in instead of Bernardo, or are you with Pam? 67, same starting 11. If we're winning at 60 minutes, then throw in the newbies. So Pam has got Ida starting in instead of Kyogo as well. So, I mean, how do you see it going on Sunday, mate? What's your starting 11?
I think the only two changes could be the Belgian boy. Kyogo, I think Kyogo will start. He's got to. He does well against Rangers, doesn't he? He does well. I think he'll start with Mida. I think Forrest might sit this one out.
Yeah.
I think Forrest could sit this one out.
Yeah.
I think it could be Kuhn and Mida. So can. Listen, I'm confident a Celtic win, so am I. Celtic's playing well. They're coming to our stadium, no fans. Atmosphere in the stadium will be good. The thing is, Rangers could have crumbled lately at Parkhead, or saying Celtic Park, didn't they? They've crumbled lately. But saying that, they've crumbled. They've only won about 7 or 8 times since Martin O'Neill 2000. So that's 24 years. They've only won about 7 or 8 times. So, listen, we're confident there. I think we'll win the battle midfield with McGregor and Natati. They'll get the ball out to the wingers. And as you talk about Mida and that running it, Mida and Kuhn running at them, they'll not be happy. The Rangers can't deal with the pace. They really can't. So they can't deal with the pace. I mean, you got a guy like Mida. When you're up against a player that doesn't get out of breath, you're looking at him going, this guy's not out of breath, Mida. Nothing down there. I mean, so, as I say, I think Rangers will play for a draw. I think they'll be happy with a draw. The way the two clubs are playing now. To be honest, I think Rangers will be happy. So it's up to us to go and get in there early again. Because we got to go early. I think we could win 3-0 there, getting to go early. I think we get in there. So we could.
Yes.
What's the plans for what are we all doing for the game?
Oh, I'm the home game, so I'll be at the game with my daughter. It's the only time me and her don't argue is when we go to the football. So I look forward to that as well, but I'll be at the game on Sunday, so I will.
Paddy?
I'll be there too, yeah. I'll be there with the two boys, yep.
And Andy, did you get a ticket?
I'm just waiting to find out, mate. I've not found out for sure yet, so I don't know if I'm going to be on the post-match or I'm still waiting. I may be going and I may not.
Regardless, anyway, lads, there'll be a post-match on Sunday. I'm obviously on Spain, so I'll be watching it somewhere. I've not decided if I'm going up to Marbella yet or no. I've been invited up there, so potentially could be going to Marbella, but I'll take the laptop and the mic with me and find a bar, I'm sure, and do a post-match regardless. So it could be just myself on Sunday. The lads might all be at the game, or it might be me and Andy. So we'll keep you updated as we go along. We'll see if Andy can get a ticket or not. So, Paddy, we'll just come to you lastly, mate, about the game on Sunday. Don't give us your score prediction just now. We'll go around the table and get them. But how do you see Celtic lining up? Do you think any of the new boys will come in? Who do you think will start up front? Just give us your overall opinion on the game, mate. How do you see it?
I can't see there being many changes, Scott, to be fair. Brendan likes his tried and trust. And again, I think the team, obviously, for me, the team really picks itself. What we'll do, as I would ask anybody just to watch on Sunday, do you see the difference? Just look at the difference of the two substitutes benches for Sunday.
Yeah.
You see what they have in reserve comparison to what we have. So I think you're looking at, Casper will be in goal. Right, your back four will be Johnson, Scales, Vickers, and Taylor. Your midfield three will probably be Hatate, McGregor, and Bernardo. And for the front three, I'm along with the guys. I would go with Kuhn. I think Kuhn's been outstanding. I would go Kuhn on one side, Maida on the other, and we Kyogo through the middle. There's no doubt about it. Kyogo's the talisman in this fixture.
So you're having Bernardo in instead of Engels?
100%. Again, listen, the plenty of time for the guy. Do you know what I mean? He's been through this. Tomorrow's Friday morning. This is he's Saturday morning. He's had a rough couple of days for travelling and trying to get this transfer all sorted out. This fixture is different to anything else that he'll have ever experienced before. And I just think it would be a bit unfair to sort of throw him in there. Plus the fact I thought Bernardo had a really good game last weekend. I thought he was very good.
Yep.
So I think Brendan always seems to like the guy in possession of the jersey. He doesn't seem to make changes unless so. And listen, Engels, Andy will tell you the same. This guy will absolutely be an absolute superstar in this league. This guy will rip it up, something shocking. Brendan hasn't given his approval to shell out £11 million for some guy who's just going to be ordinary. This guy's going to be something else. So his time will come. As I said, listen, see when we're 3-0 up with 15 minutes to go, you can throw them all on to get a wee bit of the atmosphere or whatever. But I think for me, I think he'll go with his tried and tested. And as I say, Kyogo, what better motivation? The wee man hasn't got a goal yet this season. What better time to get your first one this season? So
he's sharpening the samurai sword as we speak. Don't worry about that, Paddy.
Let Kyogo do his wee thing, and then we can throw on Big Ida for the last 20 minutes or whatever and see what he can do.
Yes, West of Scotland Football League, I'm pretty sure the guys can play on Sunday. As long as all the paperwork's in order, then everything should be grand. So, viewers, please get your comments in. What is your score predictions? And I'll now go around the table and ask the lads. So, I'll come to you first, Andy. What is the score going to be on Sunday, and who's getting 8 goals?
6-0. Kyogo hat-trick. Kuhn's going to score. Right, let me total this up so I don't say too many scorers, right?
It's not the conundrum, mate. It's not the conundrum.
No. Oh, thank God. So who else is going to score? I think Engels is going to come on and score as well on his debut. There you go. So that's 5. And who's going to get the last one? I think Joe Hart's going to come down for the stand and run on the pitch and score a flying header for a corner and run into the GV.
Okay, brilliant, sir.
Jerry,
come on, you've got to top that. You've got to top that.
Oh, fuck's sake. Andy's lost the plot, man. It's got to be 7. It's got to be 7. I'm going for an early goal and a steady 3-0 win again. I think Celtic's just too strong in the midfield for them. Too much pace. 3-0. Kyogo get the first goal. There's your coupon. There's your 3-0 and Kyogo first goal scorer. 40s. 10 on that.
Aye. Hopefully the wee man can get a goal on Sunday, Paddy. What's your thoughts, mate? What's your prediction for the score and who you having as your goal scorers?
Listen, the one thing that we have, people underestimate the supporters. I know supporters don't score goals, but the atmosphere in the stadium is completely different. And this is with the Rangers. I've seen a few of their games so far. They have a couple of new players, and they will never ever have seen anything like this before. The guy Jeff Day, or whatever you call him, the guy they have playing on the left, the guy Cherney, these guys will never. So listen, it could go one or two ways. They could just absolutely disappear. Like that's what happened to them. In the midweek game that we beat them 3-0 under Ange at the time, they just disappeared in the atmosphere. And by the time they got a foothold in the game, they were 3-0 down. So I can see something very, very similar again. I don't know if you heard Chris Sutton earlier on the day. Chris Sutton said he didn't think it would be a cricket score. He thought it might be a lot closer than people suggest. So I would kind of tend to agree with him. But at the same time, if you look at the way we've been playing since the start of the season, what for us, the speed, the intensity, the press.
Yeah.
I just don't think Rangers they don't have the players to live with us. It's as simple as that. I just don't think they have the players to live with us. So we're going to go 4-0. We're going to go for 4-0. I'll go for Kyogo to make his bow with a nice wee double, and then I'm going to go for Nicholas Kuhn to weigh in with one in the second half, and the fourth goal is going to be a header from Liam Scales from a corner. Big Scales to score from a corner. So that would just top off the day.
No Joe Hart, no, big skills instead.
Big scale. Big man takes some stick, and I like him. You know what I mean? He's a Dublin lad. You know what I mean? He's a wholehearted big guy. He gives his all. You know what I mean? And he takes an awful lot of stick. But I just don't think the big guys let us down. You know what I mean? Yes, he knows himself. He's not a Franz Beckenbauer, and he's never going to be. But I think he plays to his own strengths. You know what I mean? I think the big guy gives his all. You know what I mean? And again, like what we were saying earlier on about the guys that were coming and going. You know, there's your guy Nawrocki. Martin O'Neill used to say that there's more to being a player than just being, playing in the games. You have to be available whenever we need you. And there's too many of these guys lying on the treatment table whenever they should be playing. Their big skills never misses a match. So I'd love to see big skills getting one against them.
Bang on, mate. Absolutely bang on. And you keep nicking my scorelines, Paddy. That's every week we do these scoreline predictions. I had that in my head there all the way through. I'm going to go with 4-0 as well, gentlemen. I think we're going to absolutely pump them. We start quick. I think, unfortunately, we're going to take the foot off the gas at some point when I just want us to fucking obviously keep going at them, but it physically can't be done. And with Andy, I think Engels will start, and I think he'll score as well. I think he's got that attacking streak in him. He's going to be given that license to go forward. Well, Hatate and McGregor just passed as they say in boxing, jab the head off them. We're just going to be passing the ball, ordering them constantly quick, bamboozle them. They're not going to have a clue what's going on, man. They're not going to be able to keep up with the speed. Maeda's going to destroy Tav doing that wing as ever. Kuhn's going to destroy whoever's playing at left back. It's just going to be such an easy day at the office for me. And I think Schmeichel's going to have nothing to do. Carter Vickers is going to have another rest day with Dessers. I think Kobayashi could mark Dessers at the game. He's actually. So, I think it'll be 4-0 Celtic, a very comfortable day, and it'll just show how streets ahead we are of them. And it's going to get played out at Paradise on Sunday. So, gentlemen, there is 13 minutes left of the transfer window, and we've only got one more topic to cover, and it's the most important topic, which is what we're here for. Transfers in. So, during the show, we've had Engels come in and the lad from Sheffield United as well. So, let's just get them up straight away. So, Engels has came in for Celtic. He's signed, and so has Austin Trusty from Sheffield United. Now, Andy, we'll come to yourself first, mate. This is our signings in, barring the two boys that I've already mentioned, and there is talk of young McCowan coming from Dundee as well, hopefully, before we go off here. So the first person I want to speak about, mate, is the big man himself from Norwich at top there. Adam Ida broke our transfer record last week. Adam Ida, mate, give us your thoughts on the big man.
I like him, mate. I think we know all about him. He came in and done the business at the tail end of last season. And by the way, when he was first kind of mentioned, we're like, who is this guy? And what is this all about? An absolute panic.
Yeah.
At the end of the window, at the last minutes, it was done. And what a signing it turned out to be, a loan signing.
Won the league for us, mate.
We absolutely needed him. He was so pivotal, and we were all shouting for him to get signed up as well. I just wish it had been done sooner, and he was in America ways and managed to get up to speed ways, rather than, because that can be mentally draining as well. Him wondering, I'm investing all my emotions into this move. Is it going to happen? Is it no? Starts to affect your football, takes your mind off the ball. Your mind's elsewhere. All you want to do is get a move done. And to be fair to him, he put all his eggs in the one basket, and he basically put it out of the club and say, go and you do your bit, I've done my bit. They could have been a wee bit more. I think they were lowballing. Norwich, and I think they took a bit of umbrage with it, and I think they were maybe messing them about. And that's why it took so long. But Celtic, they need to get more professional way and more realistic when they're coming into valuations of players. if a club's telling them they think the player's worth that, don't come in with less than half of what they're asking for. It's an insult. Not only is it an insult to the club, it's an insult to us as a fan base as well that our club is acting so unprofessional. And let's not forget, it's an insult to the player as well. Because he's sitting looking going, they want me to go to this club and they're coming in. That's what they think I'm worth. And the club's telling them what I'm worth. So, they need to up their game a wee bit. But I'm delighted he's in. I think it's going to be a really good signing for us overall.
Yeah, Jerry, we sort of fucked up with a loan to buy with Big Ida. Again, another lesson learned by Celtic. It was a kind of rush transfer through in January. But he certainly won us a league, in my opinion anyway. I thought he was brilliant when he came up. He scored some important goals. The Hibs game, springs to mind straight away where he was unbelievable. A lot of fans are saying that we paid over the odds for him at 9.5 million. But he's a young boy. He's going to get better. Brendan's going to make him better. What's your overall thoughts on Adam Ida signing, mate?
I think it's a good signing for the club. He kept his side of the bargain up with the goals he got for us. Celtic should have got so to do it a bit quicker. As Andy says, could have got him up, get him to the pre-season. He does look a wee bit sluggish, You see him there taking a touch. Definitely on. He's not up to scratch yet with the training. But I said it a couple of weeks ago, 23-year-old. He's got the strength, the height, ability, scores goals. I honestly think he'll be a cracking signing. I've said before, my biggest worry is we just signed the Belgian boy there. It's where you're going to try and get him into two up front and get him game time. Kyogo. That's just my biggest worry, but I think it's a good signing for the club. The money's not a problem for me. I think that's gone rate there.
It's a gone rate for sure. And Paddy, as Jerry said there, maybe revert to a two up front, or at the end of the day, we've only got two strikers. It doesn't look as though we're going to be signing another one. It looks like we're going to be using Maeda as that third striker. And could we get a better striker in than Maeda anyway for sort of low ball money? It's not going to happen, so it's maybe a good thing at the end up. But Adam Ida overall, mate, what's your thoughts on him? Are you happy with the process of getting him? Obviously, let's have a quick chat about that and the price as well, mate. And what's he going to bring to Celtic?
Just delighted that we got him in the end. I think, as Andy said, there's a bit more. I think there's a bit more to it than they were letting on. I think Norwich were moving the goalpost with a fee as well. I think they were, playing silly beggars with a fee. We were probably lowballing them, but I think they were now. They were probably playing a wee bit silly beggars there too. But again, as Andy said, you see the human side of it. The big guy, he had all his furniture and all his stuff in storage in Glasgow. That was still in Glasgow, so he knew he was coming back. And that's what we were saying. That's bound to be difficult for him down in England, knowing all his stuff's up there. And am I going? Am I staying? Am I going? So just delighted to get him. As I say, when you see the money that's being paid in England, like listen, what was it? How many years ago did we sign Chris Sutton and John Hurst? We paid $6 million for them guys so many years ago. We've only just paid $9 million and a bit for Big Ida. It's more than better than the going rate. We talked earlier on about Big O and guys not taking their opportunity. The big guy didn't have to take his opportunity when he got his chance in January last year, and that's exactly what we said. Especially as a striker, if you get your chance, that's what didn't happen for O. It didn't happen for Haksabanovic, but there, Big Ida come in, bang, goals in the league, goals in the cup, scored the goal certainly that propelled us towards the title, and scored the goal that won the double. So I'm just delighted that we finally got him. Take a wee week or two for him to get up to speed, but you get a wee run out in the second half when it's 4-0 Sunday.
Aye, for sure, mate. Aye, I think it's decent. It's a decent price and the going rate, like you said, when you see some of the transfers that are happening down south. So the next one, Andy, is our Paulo Bernardo. Again, we've seen snippets of him, what he could do. Brendan sort of used him quite a bit in the Champions League last year and in the sort of bigger games. And he produced in those big games, which is what you want to see. Portugal under-21 captain, £6 million. Bargain again for me, mate.
Again, came for the Benfica Academy. He's came for good stock, very well coached, very talented player. Comes up with a good goal in big games, as you said. Brendan obviously had a lot of trust in him to put him in the type of games because he knows he's got the quality to deal with it. He can handle pressure, can handle the big occasion, and I think he'll be important in the Champions League as well. Engels, I think he's going to be a good player, but he's very young as well. As is Bernardo, but he's his under 21s captain for his country, I know, so he can deal with responsibility. I think he's got a mature head on his shoulders, and I think he'll have a kind of probably seen as a breakout season with Celtic. I think with Matt O'Reilly going away as well, it kind of frees up a place for either him or Engels or whoever else is fighting for that position. That it gives us good competition for places, which is what you need as a big football club. You don't want them to just relaxing in that position, just thinking that it's their jersey and nobody's going to challenge them. So as long as we've got people running about, good quality players, then it's going to raise the standard of the players that are in that position at a time. So we're going to benefit. Good quality player and good acquisition. I'm glad we went back and got him. Money well spent, in my opinion.
Definitely, mate. I think it's a bargain for £6 million. And Jerry, just talking about other midfield players, just very quickly, I want to touch on somebody from our neck of the woods. Young Billy Gilmore, mate, has signed for Napoli on a permanent signing. So, young Billy Feodrosin, I know his family's very supportive of his career and stuff like that. And he's away to Napoli with Scott McTominay. So, two Scottish midfielders, central midfielders in the middle of the park for Napoli. Who would have thought that a few days ago?
What is it with Scots going to Italy? They seem to like their Scottish players, don't they?
Aye. Well, young Lewis Ferguson and that as well. And
used to go to my and dad's. He stays up next to my mum and dad's, Billy. And you never seen that boy without a ball. Never ever seen him without a ball, Scott.
Aye.
His
Feather played for Winton Rovers, didn't he?
I played with Billy. Billy played my dad's team, amateur and that. He was a great player and all, wee Billy. His dad was a good wee player and all. Used to go up for headers. He was quite wee, but not for a header. He just floated. He was a good player and all. So he was. Can't wee player.
Aye, so Bernardo, mate, £6 million, cracking bit of business for Celtic, that one for me. How do you see him getting on this season, Jerry?
I think he'll keep going, but he's no replacement for O'Reilly. He's a different type of player to O'Reilly altogether, isn't he? A different type of player. Sandy says you don't captain under 21s of Portugal, nothing, no. So to get him for that kind of price, especially the price of the Portuguese players go for. I mean, you got Silva there going for, he was 17 million. So Bernardo could be a great signing for us as well. He's done well. To me, it's a bit different when you're a lone player. You seem to don't rock the boat much when you come off the bench and that, I feel. But now that's him signed now, it's up to him to establish himself, The other thing was McCowan signed as well for Celtic there. I think it was a good signing for us. I like Bernardo, so I did. I liked him.
Aye, Jerry, we've won a watch with that boy. And Paddy, £6 million, Portugal under 21 captain. Want to watch him, mate?
Oh, snip at that money. And again, I talked about Brendan development players. Possibly this time last year he maybe wasn't ready for, to accept the responsibility to step up and be a regular first team player week in, week out. But I think now with Araya gone, there's an opening there for another player to come in. So we've got great choice now, and I think you're only going to see the best of Bernardo. I think he's had a year. He knows a lot more about the club. He knows the players. He knows the setup, and I think he's only going to get better and better. And no better man to develop than Brendan. And I think it's just this will prove to be one of the shrewdest piece of business we've ever done.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
That's the last 10 seconds.
That's us, mate. The transfer window is done. So we're just waiting to hear news from the club that young McCowan has signed as well. There's a couple of comments here in the comments saying that he has signed, but there's no confirmation as of yet. George, the Frimpong won 15 million. I wouldn't imagine we'd get 15 million for a sell-on fee Maybe run about the 4 or 5 million point if Frimpong was to go to Barcelona. But anyway, again, another good bit of business if that sort of comes off. So, gentlemen, what else do we have? We have Sinisola. We don't know too much about him. Schmeichel, we've already covered. And Alex Valle, I'll go for that pronunciation since I'm half Spanish now. Alex Valle.
Oh la la.
Oh la la. He looks tidy, but again, it's just a YouTube thing. You know, we've only seen him on YouTube, so we can't really give our massive opinion on the boy. But gentlemen, we have hit the 3 hour point, and that's been fantastic. I'm sure we'll speak about McCowan on Sunday. If Andy, you're joining me on the post-match. If not, we'll start next Wednesday, and we'll cover everything again then, as well as the Glasgow Derby. Just things to look forward to next month is Tommy Burns month here on the Four Leaf Clover podcast. I can now exclusively reveal that our first guest on the Tommy Burns month on Wednesday will be Tommy Burns' son, Jonathan, who will be joining us live on the podcast. So make sure you tune in for that. I'm sure it will be emotional for him, emotional for us, and emotional for everybody watching. We've decided to dedicate a full month to Tommy because there's that many stories, there's that many people who want to say good things about him, and we've just decided to do it, and that's what we're going to do. So, gentlemen, Sunday is the big game. We'll join you if we can after the game, me and Andy. Barring that, thank you so much for joining us on this bumper show that we've had tonight, 3 hours. I don't think anybody's went for a piss either, considering we're all 4 middle-aged men. That is quite impressive.
I have, but I've no moved.
That was a quick one. You just piss yourself.
Listen, mate, I'm at that age. Nobody really tells. I stinky piss all the time, not just when I piss myself.
Andy's got a tenner lady on. He's all right. He's got a tenner lady on. He's covered. So, thank you very much for joining us. 2 confirmed signings in for Celtic, and it looks like a third, McCowan from Dundee, is coming in as well. So, like I said, thank you very much. Thank you to Andy. Thank you to Alec Baldwin. Thank you to Willie Miller. It's been a fantastic show. The 3 hours have flown in. We will see you on Sunday. Thank you very much.
Here, guys.
Caught me there, Scotty. Hold on. Too busy looking at the comments.
We'll give it a 2-minute fucking rundown.
Sorry, mate. I'm too busy thinking about peeing my pants.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.